Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, it's my host companion, Syed Zarwick. How you doing, Syed?
Hey, Dev. What's going on?
Not much. I got weird energy because it's a Saturday recording, which what? Oh,
yeah, yeah, weird. I made a mistake before we started recording today, like moments before we started recording.
Oh,
you want to talk about a weird energy?
Okay.
And I watched the new horror film Fruithead. I'm assuming by Monday everybody will be talking about it. So
the Gushers adaptation from the old commercials, when you eat Gushers, your head becomes fruit. That's what they cited. They cited that Fruithead is meant to be an adaptation of the world where when you ate Gushers, your head became fruit. I've not yet seen it. I'm actually not even familiar with it.
Bradley Whitford stars not as the titular Fruithead, but rather as the maybe deservedly tortured director. I tell you what, man, it's fucking terrible.
I mean,
they go so unnecessarily hard for a 10-minute Gushers ad.
I mean, is it still an ad for Gushers at the end of the day? Oh, okay. Maybe we're gonna have to...
by Gushers and posted by Gushers on YouTube and a big old title card at the end. That's like Gushers. Go buy Gushers.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I feel like this is not something we should do in the show, but we're doing it in the show. I was going to call this one the Roshan Report because of my interaction with Roshan a week ago, and I now have, the resolution. I know that nobody else is familiar with this, but Syed was there as I had a pretty, nice conversation with a person named Roshan from Wal-Mart customer service. So I wanted to dedicate this episode to Roshan. But now, we're still going to dedicate it to Roshan until I've seen Fruithead. Because the Fruithead report, we'd want to talk about it more. In the Gushers report, I don't want to give Gushers free advertising any more than we already have. I love Gushers, don't get me wrong. Probably top 5 fruit snacks from when I was a kid. Of course, if I say that, I mean shark bites are definitely higher than Gushers because I loved a great white shark. I was just so
good. The good old Welch's, man.
Yeah, no, screw Welch's. Welch's was like, your mom wants you to be healthy. Fruit snacks are meant to be bad for you. I
imagine that by the time we record next week, it'll be memed to hell. So we could probably definitely talk about it. But yeah, man. It's also in the wake of you posting. I don't know if you posted this in the Discord proper for everybody, but maybe we should. The video of Colonel Sanders' nephew giving out the spices recipe.
Yeah, no, I have no problem putting that up. We'll throw that up in supplemental materials. We won't put Fruithead because that's still I don't want to whatever. You can find it. We'll send a link to it. But Colonel Sanders' nephew giving this is how we make the chicken recipe.
Wait. And to be clear, because of his disagreement with the ways in which his uncle has been portrayed in the marketing for KFC over the last 10-15 years, cites specifically things like the dating sim and the weird Lifetime movie that got made, or Hallmark movie. Was it a Hallmark movie? Whatever citing all of that stuff and saying that because of that he felt betrayed and was going to release the recipe, and then gives out what he knows to be the recipe. And so just thinking about that reaction of anger towards the marketing for this thing, right? And I'm sitting here thinking I don't think I could ever eat Gushers again after watching this.
Really? See, that seems like a mistake on the part of Gushers. Here's the crazy thing about Gushers. They have been leveled up from fruit snack to full-on candy. If you go to your 7-Elevens, your Cumberland Farms, your Wawas, your Sheetz, wherever you go for convenience shopping, you can buy bags of Gushers like they're Skittles.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really jive with me, I'll be honest with you. The vending machines at work have Gushers in them. And that just feels weird to me. But then what is even one step weirder is that you can still buy them in fruit snack form. And they're going to be the same gushers. But, like, I don't know how I'm feeling about this gusher resurgence that we're living
also
through.
The idea that there is something that is available in the fruit snack breakfast area aisle and then, like, is also available in the candy aisle.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference is size, right? Like, for example, this is one that Claude has already heard this. And sorry, Claude, because you're also the impetus behind it. Claude's a big fan of Diet Mountain Dew and Mountain Dew Zero. And so we were hanging out, and I was having a Diet Mountain Dew, and he was having a Mountain Dew Zero. And we were comparing the difference between the two of them because they both have 0 calories. And it turns out that the only reason that the Diet Mountain Dew that I was drinking had 0 calories was that it was a 12-ounce can. Because they don't need to report if there are less than 10 calories in something. It's such a negligible amount. So, like, if I have 2 of those, though, I'm getting 10 calories. But it's super deceptive because it says 0. So you're going to think, well, every time I drink a can of this Diet Mountain Dew, I'm getting 0 calories. That's good, right? That's a good thing. That's a lie, though. Because they're not thinking about the additive nature of it. Wherein, on something like Mountain Dew Zero... Actually, are you up for something crazy? Also, I'm very disappointed in myself. I bought a bottle of Mountain Dew Dragon Fruit to try on the episode, and I forgot it in the car. I did not do that.
Oh, no.
So maybe we can plan that for a coming episode. I definitely have one, so if you're able to find one, maybe we can, like, do it up.
All right.
I hate myself. But yes, so let's do something though fun right now, just for the fun of it. Sejin, you bring up the ingredients list for Mountain Dew Zero, and I'm going to bring it up for Diet Mountain Dew.
Okay. I'm on 0, you said, right?
Yeah.
Mountain Dew Zero is me?
Yeah, this will be fun, because this is the thing, right? Mountain Dew, 20
right,
fluid ounces. Diet Mountain Dew, 20 fluid ounces, for the record, 10 calories. So, yeah, no, 12, no calories. Like, 16 fluid ounces? What do I have to do? Oh, I do not want to accept cookies from you, this weird website. No, thank you. Okay, bye. Oh, my God. No.
Seeing much in here that's not just in regular old...
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's the really crazy thing about it. 16-ounce Mountain Dew, 5 calories, but 12 fluid ounces Mountain Dew, that's 0 calories. That's hyper deceptive. But let's look at it. Are you looking at
you burn a couple of calories just opening the thing, so it all kind of evens out.
It evens out, right? All right. So we're going to go word for word. You start, then I'll start with the ingredients of Diet Mountain Dew and Mountain Dew Zero.
Starting at the top is carbonated water.
Carbonated water.
Citric acid.
Concentrated orange juice.
Ooh.
So
natural flavor.
Citric acid.
Potassium benzoate.
Natural flavor.
Oh. Sorry. Potassium benzoate, parentheses, preserves freshness, close parentheses. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Still natural flavor for me.
Yeah.
So there's one
citrus
difference
pectin.
so far. Okay. Potassium benzoate. Open parentheses.
See, I think we caught up because you have the orange juice and I've just got the citrus pectin.
Well, that's it. So what do you have after citrus pectin?
Aspartate.
Aspartate or aspartame?
Oh, probably aspartame. What I have is a picture somebody took of a bottle.
Oh,
so
okay. I'm on PepsiCo. The facts about your favorite foods and beverages.
Yeah.
PepsiCo products, facts.com. So then citrus pectin, aspartame. So yeah, that's it. So it does look like the difference is just that actual concentrated orange juice. But let's keep going now. So after your aspartame, you have
potassium citrate.
Potassium citrate.
Caffeine.
Gum
arabic.
Sodium citrate.
Ooh. We do have sodium citrate. That's later down the list, though.
Okay.
Acelophane.
I think it's actually
potassium. I think it's acelophane potassium,
That's
actually.
the same thing, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Sucralose.
And there's my sodium citrate. This is my sodium citrate.
There's my gum arabic.
Okay. Calcium
Disodium
discoduct?
Eda to protect flavor.
Oh yeah, it's two. Oh yeah. Parentheses to protect flavor. Close parentheses.
Before
Good
that,
old yellow 5.
Okay, and so before that, for me, sodium benzoate to preserve freshness.
There's.
So, and then yellow 5. Yeah, then I have the calcium disodium Eda to protect flavor, and then yellow 5. And phycalonurics contains phenylalanine.
Phenylalanine or phenylalanine. No, phenylalanine. Yeah, phenylalanine.
Phenylalanine. Yeah, but they're very similar, the two. The difference is just that like Diet Mountain Dew has actual orange juice in it, and thus because of that, you need the sodium benzoate to preserve the freshness of the orange juice. So I don't know which one is better, right? Like I guess Diet Mountain Dew is more organic because it has the orange juice in there. But yeah, it's just so crazy to me that as soon as you go like 12 fluid ounces, 0. 16 fluid ounces, come on, go to it. That's got 5. 20 fluid ounces, that's got 10. 24, that's also just got 10. Like, it's just, it's weird what they're allowed to get away with, I guess is why we're talking about this.
At the end of the day, like, I totally understand drinking Diet Mountain Dew because from, like, a cloyingly, like, sweet flavor perspective, that's what you prefer over Mountain Dew. But the people out there that think that they're actually doing something healthy by choosing Diet Mountain Dew are not.
No.
They're just not.
No. I mean, technically, you shouldn't drink any soda, as the person who had a couple of glasses of Coke already today. Oh, that's the point of it. The fact that, like, when you eat a king-size bag of Gushers, it's candy. But if you eat a little tin foil thing that can fit in your lunchbox that only has, like, maybe 6 Gushers in it, that's a fruit snack. It's all about the amount that you eat before it becomes fruit snack or candy. I remembered now. Yay!
Oh man,
good times. This is a good start to this. So
this is what a Saturday show is like.
Well, like it's weird because I'm rested. Like it's the afternoon too. It's not like we did it at the normal Sunday time on Saturday. Like we've just had a little bit more time to live it. Like I almost like, man, I wish we'd started like 1 hour earlier. Like I'm ready for a nap. That's where I'm at. So we've kind of like freaky Saturday'd you and I, where you're the one with a little bit more
back half
energy.
of this episode just all in ASMR.
I'm not doing that. ASMR scares me. It scares me because I don't know it. My fear is of the unknown. But yeah, so let's start. Let's talk about Roshan, because then there's other things that we teased last episode before I rudely turned it into a Casper episode that I gotta tell you, Brazil is fucking loving. Thank you to all of our listeners in Brazil. I have to imagine it's for Casper, but if it's for some other reason, well, thank you for listening anyway.
Sawa has a huge following down there.
Yes. So, I mean, that I'm not going to go deeper with that. Sawa has a huge following down there, but all I can think of is the product Sala, and it just being like the salsa seltzer joke from frickin' Seinfeld. Life is fun. So, a week ago, I guess right now it's New York Comic Con. We're recording in like the middle of New York Comic Con. So there's a bunch of toy releases coming in. We're going to talk about the HasLab that was announced at New York Comic Con. I cannot wait to discuss this with you, Sejan. But
okay.
They're also showing off a lot of new Ninja Turtle stuff. But where they're showing it off, they've also released NECA. Not a big fan of NECA as a company. I've had some problems with them. But, you know, let's listen to the rest of the story. They've done versions of the 2012 Turtles, which for a lot of people, the 2012 show is the best Ninja Turtles show. Because it has...
What's the full name of that one?
What's that one?
What's the full name of that one?
Just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It doesn't have
it's not
else.
The Adventures of the TMNT or something?
No.
That's like the...
The fifth season became Tales of the TMNT.
That's what,
which is the thing, but it was still part of the 2012 line. They just called them Tales of the TMNT because they were all serialized, and it was between 2 to 4 episodes to tell a story. That 5th season. So it was kind of different. Plus, I don't know if that was Nickelodeon doing the same sort of like disgusting shit that we see Disney Channel do, where it's still the same show, but after 3 seasons we changed the title so that the contracts reset.
Well, if I remember correctly about that in particular, is that it became more like Futurama season 5 there, where what it is they kind of Nickelodeon kind of banked on the fact that like we can tightly package 4 episodes together, maybe hold off on putting the next 4 episodes on TV depending on what we want to carry instead, like always have it in the bag, put them out on DVD as full things later. Like they were treated very much like we're giving you this season, but with a ton of caveats that make this much more marketable for us.
Yeah, I mean, because by all accounts, the 4th season has kind of a nice ending for the characters. Like Shredder's dead by like the end of the 3rd season, and then the 4th season sees them in space. No, he doesn't die till the end of the 4th season, or he's not defeated till the end of the 4th season, because the first half of season 4 sees him in space with a David Tennant voiced Fugitoid. God, that was incredible casting, I'm not gonna lie. And then when they come back to Earth, they bring the people that they were fighting in space come to Earth and invade. So the Krang are no longer a threat, but there are other alien invaders, and that's what sees them working together with like members of the Foot Clan who are like, no, fuck the Foot Clan. I'm fighting for this planet now. Like, it's real interesting. It has a solid ending where like the turtles win and the Foot is defeated. So I understand why they're like, this is over. This show is done, but people still love Ninja Turtles. We'll give you a 5th season. And you're also not wrong. They did sort of package it as this little movie that's airing. They never aired them as full, like uninterrupted films. They were always like broken up into parts. But yeah, there's some really... That's where they finally covered, like, Renette storylines with the time scepter. They
should. I mean, to be clear, like, I would eat that shit up. But yeah, no. It is... it's an interesting version of the Turtles. Like you said, it's kind of a lot of people's definitive version of the Turtles. So, like, there's a lot of things that come from that show that are just kind of accepted as gospel now.
Yeah. They did a lot to bring together from Ciro Neely was the creative force behind Turtles 2012. So he did a lot to bring in things from the Mirage books and from the 87 series. Like, he really did create a lovely pastiche of everything that came before. And the Ninja Turtles, as we've mentioned numerous times on this very show, are all about the adaptations and letting artists do what they want to do with the characters when they're in the hot seat. So works. Like, weirdly, it kind of works to have this one thing where it's like all this crazy stuff that's come before, we're going to try to pack that into one single story. And we're also going to do some new stuff too, right? Like Fish Face and Dog Pound being the Bebop and Rocksteady before Bebop and Rocksteady are ultimately introduced in the 3rd season. It's a lot on the 2012 Turtles, and I'm sorry, I'm a big fan of it. But the more important thing is that NECA, who have pretty much been living in the space of 1987 adaptations of the figures, for this year are releasing their versions of the 2012 Turtles. And randomly on Wal-Mart, they put up all 4 Turtles and Shredder. Because it looked like they were just going to be selling them exclusively through the NECA store. And then they popped up on Walmart. And they didn't pop up on Walmart as a pre-order. They were just ready to ship to people. So I saw that, and against my better judgment, knowing that I wouldn't be dealing with NECA, right? I'm going through Walmart. It should be fine. Come to find out, I was still dealing with NECA. They were still shipped and sold by NECA, just using Walmart as sort of their storefront. So when they arrived last Saturday, after being ordered on Thursday, which again, that's just crazy turnaround, right? Can we admit that that's kind of crazy turnaround?
Well, especially in the era of something like what's the video game company there? Limited Run, that like you could order something and not see it for 3 years. So
yeah, like they put up these things and they already had them ready to go. It's not like, I mean, God, even look at something like at New York City Comic Con, they put up a X-Men 97 Apocalypse figure. It's $119. It's made to order. So, like, it's the weird middle ground between just retail releases and HasLab Kickstarter style releases, is this weird made to order. We're only going to make as many as are ordered, which that can't be true, right? Because if it's 50 per, like, printing of the mold, and then they order 149, they're not going to order just 49 in that last one. Another one's going to be built. And that's also not how it would be. More likely it'd be like 163 are ordered. All right, so we'll order 200. And then we'll have some that we can, put up for sale on our own eBay site. Because Hasbro Pulse has an eBay site where they charge more for things as if they're the scalpers. The toy industry is just a weird thing. But back to my turtles from Walmart. A package arrives at my house, and it is missing items. What I have ordered is not there, but I have the full packing list that tells me what is supposed to be in the box, and they do not match up. So, seeing that it came from NECA, and then rechecking the listing and saying, God damn, I am still dealing with NECA, even though it's through Walmart storefront, I contact Walmart immediately, because I do not want to sit on this. I sat on, I don't know if you're aware of this, but last Halloween, they did, NECA has the Universal Monsters license.
Yeah, and they did the crossover with the TMNT, right? Like, Raph was like Frankenstein.
No, they've been doing those for a while. Those ones are great. I have those in the house. Those are great figures. No, what they did with just the Universal Monsters line, do you remember the Burger King kids meal that was Universal Monsters?
Oh,
like they were like little like 3-inch figures of Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, and Swamp Thing. And they all had like kind of cool action features. Like Dracula rose out of his coffin. Like they were cool. Nice. They were cool. They reminded me of the Backstreet Boys toys that would come out later, where the Backstreet Boys were like intergalactic heroes for some reason. They did that with the Universal Monsters, and they all have like unique designs. For example, the Swamp Thing is like he's see-through, he's translucent plastic, and he's squirted water, so like you could see like the guts inside of him. Frankenstein.
Do you mean not the Swamp Thing? You mean the
not Swamp Thing. I mean Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, I apologize.
I was like,
the Creature.
Man, I've been reading a bunch of Swamp Thing. Did I miss that there was a really good Swamp Thing game?
No. I'm just being an asshole. I blame Big Wolf on Campus for my miscategorization of the Creature from the Black Lagoon as Swamp Thing. That's Big Wolf on Campus. You've ruined another memory.
You leave that shit alone, man.
I love that show. It's one of my favorites. The first place on the internet that I was active in forums was bigwolfoncampus.org.
Man.
But yes, and Frankenstein, like, he was wearing his normal stuff, but he had translucent plastic for his hands and head, and then he had like a recreation of the Ronco Monsterizer that he laid on, and you could push a button and it would light up specifically those parts of his body. So they're like, well, we have this thing, we have this mold, we're going to do as a NECA store exclusive these 4 characters, but, in 6-inch scale, so you can have them on your shelves. And the box was a recreation of the, like, in-store display of the toys. Like, they went hard for this as a NECA store exclusive, which also means it had a pretty heavy price tag. But I got 2 of them, figuring like I want to display one like it's the display case in the restaurant, and I want one to open so that I can decorate at Halloween with these versions of the monsters. And when they eventually arrived, because they got delayed coming to me from the NECA store, both of the boxes were heavily damaged, like window box packaging, and the window was just like punched in, and you could see where the glue had ripped off on the sides. And actually, the packing slip for this order was inside one of the boxes, and not like because that window stuff had got pushed in. It was in the package in a way that somebody opened up this package and was like, the best place for this packing list is inside the product, which is not the case. But that's why...
Not for toy collecting, not in the fucking least.
Right?
I mean, I almost wonder, like, did it get, like, swabbed for something by Homeland Security or some shit?
Yeah, like, especially since it was delayed and everything. But, so I contacted immediately, like, both of these products arrived damaged. Can I arrange for a replacement or a refund since it's a store exclusive and you might not have them in order to send out to me? They never got back to me. And I attempted again, still nothing. But I purchased it with PayPal. So I'm like, well, I have buyer protection, right? The fact that the company is not getting back to me about this, let's go. So I contact PayPal and they're like, oh, you should have contacted us sooner. And I'm like, well, I contacted the company. Like, I didn't, like, you're the nuclear option, PayPal. Like, just because, like, I'm not going to go right to you, first of all, to be like, this company is bad, give me back my money. I'm going to try to work it out with the company.
Please help.
But they're like, oh, yeah, no, you should have contacted within the first 30 days. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, can we still talk? Because it's still a big problem. They're like, yeah, no, we're not going to do it. So that's why I have not ordered anything directly from the NECA store. I have 11,000 points that are going to expire with NECA from orders, including this one that I just mentioned. But I don't want to deal with it because I'd still have to deal with them to redeem any rewards from their site. And like, I just don't want to mess with that. I mean, these are the same people who I ordered the Monsterizer to go with the Frankenstein from this set. And instead they sent me a Christmas Story leg lamp. And I'm like, this is not what I ordered. And they're like, oh yeah, send it back to us and we'll send you out the Monsterizer. And it's like, no, you're going to send me out what I ordered. And then I'll send this back to you. That's how hostage negotiations work, guys. I'm not going to trust you to send me the right product. Once I get the product I ordered, then you can have this back. And to their defense, they sent it back to me, and they said you should receive a prepaid mailing label to send the lamp back to us. That was a year ago. I have not received a prepaid label from them. And trust me, I'm checking my spam or other folders in case it does not go to my protected inbox. So, like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But I haven't been charged for a leg lamp, so I'm still considering it a victory. So, last Saturday, CJ and I had a meeting to discuss the Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe, which we just dropped a new episode on the 2024 film Spaceman. And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say we may have unlocked the secret to the, like, entire Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe we've been building. It's an important episode for the series. Also, we determined who would play us when Broken Lizard eventually adapts the story of the Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe podcast for Netflix. Because let's be honest, that's what's coming, right? That's coming down the pipeline.
They get to us eventually. They gotta burn through everything else first.
Yeah. I mean, like, we're probably not going to see it for like 15, 20 years, but when they're desperate enough for new content, look for the Say Report Boys and adaptations. But yes, so last Saturday we do it, and while CJ and I are getting ready to have that meeting, I just send, an innocuous little message to Roshan at Wal-Mart saying, like, look, I received this product from you guys that I ordered. I am missing items, but it's the full packing list, and it says that it's all supposed to be here. Can we start working on this now? And the unfortunate response from Walmart, though Roshan was wonderful, he was very kind. Ended up being a little bit rude to him because he's like, I hope you're 100% satisfied. And I'm like, no, you weren't able to help me. So, like, I'm satisfied because you've given me a path to help, which was once we're past the expected delivery date, because I did receive them early. I will tell that, full disclosure. They said they weren't going to be here until the 6th of October, and I received them on the 4th of October. So he's like, so just wait until the 6th, and then hopefully you'll get a package with the missing items. But if you don't by the 6th, contact us, and then we'll begin to do something. So I wait till the 6th, no package. 7th, no package. 8th, no package. I contact them on the 9th of October, Thursday the 9th of October. And I tell them, look, this is what happened. I still have not got these products. I'd like to begin the resolution of this. The person that I spoke with, Syed at Walmart, he's like, I'm going to have to look into this. Now, I'm waiting like 15 minutes. And I do have to say, I'm a big fan of him coming back and being like, I'm really sorry it's taking this long, but we're trying to figure out exactly what happened. And it seems like more screwed up than it probably should be. Like, this isn't just someone forgot to put an item into the box scenario.
Yeah.
So, like, it's going to be like 5 more minutes. Thank you very much for your patience. So when he eventually comes back after 15 minutes from my initiating contact with him, he goes, here's what's going to happen. We're refunding everything. I know that you received some product, but this was a problem. They did not properly give us the information on the shipping. They just made up that delivery date of the 6th. They have nothing that can support that. So because of what you're dealing with, we're just going to refund everything for you. Hold on to what you already have. Maybe you'll get the other stuff, but if when that stuff arrives, they charge you, contact us, because you're not giving them a dime. And we are not happy with the way that one of our partners is treating customers, which makes me feel like I might not be the only person who complained
it sounds
to
like
Walmart
Walmart figured out what kind of attitude NECA has towards actually shipping shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild to me. I don't understand. It is the core of their business, and they treat it like trash. Like,
yeah, I mean, possibly literally, considering where that packing slip was. Like, yeah, it's like an afterthought for them. But I'd say it's an afterthought, but the true afterthought is customer service. Because if you have a problem with one of their things, you reach out, they just ignore you. But
there's got to be like a money laundering aspect to this or something, right? Like, or some type of like kicking the can down the road by not producing product. Basically, they're just doing the producers on a large scale with toys. Is like they're promising a bunch of product, not delivering it as expected, banking on enough people just not fighting it or giving up the fight halfway through or whatever, and so then they just get to keep a bunch of money for a product they didn't make. Like it happens once or twice, and you're just like, man, that's a dumb company. This is the story of NECA now, because I mean, like, this is the same reason why like Target started to kind of shy away from them, because like all of the promises that they made about, like, first of all, we'll have people in there making sure that the right stuff is on the shelves and that it's all clean. That's never been the case. And we're also going to make sure that you get these products and those products for these dates. That's never been the case. So like NECA has never, in all of my time having knowledge of their existence as a company, I have never known them to actually be able to get product in somebody's hand properly.
I mean, let's look back at like Toys R Us, which was one of the earliest partners of NECA. Almost every NECA product I ever purchased from Toys R Us was at a deep discount. Like, I bought like Invisible Predator is a NECA product, one of the earliest NECA products that I purchased. I paid $1 for that. The electric gremlin, which they still make gremlin figures, right? It's not like this was a license that they got briefly and then completely screwed the pooch. I got 4 electric gremlins for $10. Like, that's $2.50 a figure. And that was a Toys R Us exclusive, a la, we're not selling this anywhere else. Like, and one of the reasons why I stopped buying NECA, and honestly, the fact that I have bought as much Ninja Turtles NECA, like, they got me. It's a product, it's a line that I really care about. But if I get a figure and it breaks, no longer do I lament the fact that it broke. I go back to the store and I get my money back. I don't contact NECA. I will go, hey, Best Buy, I bought this figure and it broke. And the fact that there are tutorials online right now, go to YouTube, type in tutorial for NECA figures, that always are like, oh, when you get a NECA figure, you have to dunk it in hot water for like 5 minutes to loosen up the joints. Otherwise, you're just asking it to break in your hands. I don't want to have to fucking do that. Like, it's nice that you're doing accurate versions of these characters you have the licenses for, but like, if you're painting them but like not then making sure that the joints work, that's poor QA. I should not get a figure and it break in my hand, especially when like the minimum price on their stuff. Well, now that they have the Ben Cooper kids, the minimum price of their product is $20. But like once we get to higher end stuff, $34.99 is their lowest price collectible. Like that's an insane amount of money for something that like people are like sometimes they just break and then too fucking bad.
Yeah, like, and so like I know that it's all business and it's all money and all that stuff, right. But like limited run for all the shit that I gave them earlier and we give them constantly, I do feel that they want to get these products to people. They want people to see these things. They want people to enjoy their time with them. I just don't get that feeling from NECA.
No, NECA feels like we got this albatross around our neck and we're just going to be stuck doing it. Because we make the turtle figures that people like, and that's just what we have to keep doing. And I wonder how involved, like, Surge Licensing was who did it all in the 80s, right? Like, that was the thing, is that in addition to the Ninja Turtles being this 40-year-old franchise that has just persisted through adaptation, they were one of the smartest people when it came to licensing it out for things. One of the reasons why Turtle Mania happened was it wasn't that Playmates got an exclusive deal to produce Ninja Turtle action figures. Like, yes, they were doing the action figures, but Dark Horse was doing miniatures for the board game. You could do, as long as it's not an action figure, you could do, like, little turtle bath toys. Like, everybody, if they were willing to pay the licensing fee, they were able to do it. And now I wonder, because we're seeing it from everywhere. One of the other big things from New York Comic Con is the fact that so many new Ninja Turtle products have been shown off. Are you familiar with the Tubular Tortoise Karate Warriors, Jim?
No.
So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, the 2023 film, the Seth Rogen one, they're getting a sequel. This is the new sequel for animation, by the way. And I think once these are all available, we'll probably have to, like, cast our eye on them a little bit, like, with the intensity we cast other topics on this show. Because they're doing a sequel to Mutant Mayhem called Chrome Alone 2 Lost in New Jersey. And the storyline is, while out Christmas shopping, the Ninja Turtles find a company that is selling action figures of them called the Tubular Tortoise Karate Warriors.
Oh my God, I'm looking at pictures of them right now.
Yeah. Playmates announced that to coincide with this release, they're doing a line of the Tubular Tortoise Karate Warriors.
with Danny, Nardo, Ralph, and Mark.
Yep. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, man.
Yeah. They're all sold out. Like, Target had them up for pre-order to release on November 30th. Pre-orders have sold out of them completely. Where, like, most Mutant Mayhem figures, they just sit on the shelf. They don't sell at all. So I don't know what's going to happen once they're supposed to be released in stores, if they're actually going to be seen. But, like, that's Playmates doing, like, some big swings. Also this year, Mattel, with the Turtles of Grayskull line, were producing Ninja Turtle stuff. They don't care if you're creating Ninja Turtle stuff as long as you pay the Mirage guys the licensing fee, which it's now Nickelodeon Viacom who owns Turtles. And they'll license it to anybody. There are a bunch of Japanese companies like Joy Toy and, I can't remember the other one, Li Feng, which I don't think that one's Japanese. That one actually might be Chinese, that are doing licensed turtle figures. Like, there's no shortage. And then there's also third-party companies that are doing figures as well. So, like, turtles are out there. So it's weird that NECA's kind of like, we're just going to do what we do. When there are other alternatives out there. They're not the only game in town. They are the only ones who apparently can do full-on recreations of the 1987 figures. But then those are also only able to be sold at Target stores because of an exclusivity deal. Whereas like the movie figures, adaptations of the movie stuff can only be sold at Walmart. But that's all NECA doing. That's all NECA negotiating exclusivity with these things. For a while, Best Buy was the only place you could get Last Ronin stuff. But then it sat on the shelves because they didn't release Turtles. They released like the Footbots and Sinjabots. And lo and behold, those didn't really sell because they're not the Ninja Turtles. People want.
I don't know
Ninja
who's making
Turtles.
choices behind the scenes with all this shit, but like, it just none of it makes any sense to somebody from the outside, which is the person you're trying to sell this shit to.
Right, exactly. But people are eating it up, like, and that's the thing about Ninja Turtle fans is that they just buy stuff. They're like, I don't even know what this character is, but it says Ninja Turtles on the box, so I'm going to get it. And then I'm like, well, this character exists, it's real, or this character is made up. They like showed off Robot, Toka, and Razor at New York City Comic Con. Those don't exist. Those are not characters that existed before. Those are inventions for the toy line. Which like also
is that not what's the name of the mutants that are not Bebop and Rocksteady in Secret of the Ooze?
Toka and Razar. So they do exist, but robot versions of them do not exist.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Toka and Razar exist, and
I was gonna say I thought that was their names. All right. Okay.
They're actually their adaptation to the '87 series was fantastic because instead of being like mindless children like they are in Secret of the Ooze, they're made like highly intelligent, refined, and they have British accents. So yeah, so the resolution for this issue with NECA, because Walmart got involved, and Walmart like does not want to lose customers because of a partner they're with, they gave me all my money back. And like I'll send a picture. Like I got Raph is one of the ones that arrived, and I'm happy to have Raph, obviously. And yeah, I'll send a picture. He looks super good. It looks like I reached into the show and plucked him out of there. But just I could not believe that for a NECA product, I actually got, like, satisfaction. So I do want to thank Roshan and Syed to the fact that this episode is named after one of them. Like that meant a lot to me. Like, not getting fucked over the way that NECA has fucked me over in the past. So if you are someone collecting their product, I know that they have exclusives through their website. It's a joke, though. God, they're doing, like, their vault stuff. Things that had, like, this is a limited edition, only available through Loot Crate. Yeah, nobody bought Loot Crate, so they got a bunch of, like, Easter Bunny, Bebop, and Rocksteady still. Or the Dark Turtle, like the Donatello when he was a Batman version in the 87. I mean, maybe they don't have tons, maybe they have, like, 1 or 2 left, but they're doing a vault event all New York City Comic Con, where from 11 to 4 every day, they put up a new item, and then, but the price is, like, it's like a flipper. It's somebody who bought it and then is trying to make a profit on eBay. Because that was not the price for this before. You're asking $50 for... Wow, there was one that was still in stock. Turtles in Time. They did a whole line of figures that were like based on the Turtles in Time video game models of the characters. Turtles in Time Foot Soldier, $50. When it released, it was $20. Like, what the fuck what are you trying to do? Like, oh, just because it's hard to get. You know, I'd almost rather go through a scalper because they're actually going to ship it to me and they probably treated it better than you guys did. Like, yeah, sorry. I didn't think this would eat up 40 minutes of this episode, Siegen. So I am sorry for taking that up. But I did. I mean, the episode is named after Roshan because it just felt nice to be heard about NECA issues for once in my life.
So what was some of the other stuff last week that we didn't get to?
So I saw this year's Barbenheimer, which was One Battle After Another, and Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie.
All right, you gotta. I'm very interested to hear your take on One Battle After Another, but man, you gotta break down what's going on with Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, for me.
So the first thing that I'm gonna say, and this is, if you're a listener to this report, long time or first time, what you need to understand about Siegen and I, this is the core of our friendship, and we were friends for, I want to say, like 3 years. Before, when did Mr. Bean's Holiday come out? That's what I need you to look up as I tell this story.
2018?
I think it's 2008.
No, not 18. Sorry,
2008.
2008 is what I was thinking.
Yeah. So it was we'd known each other for 3 years before the very core of our friendship was revealed. And that is the
2007.
fact. 2007. Excellent. So it was 2 years. But Siegen and I absolutely love seeing a G-rated movie at the movie theater.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
There's something like real special about it. So
part of it is that they're so rare nowadays. Yeah. If a movie is going to be G-rated, at this point, they usually just pump it out to DVD or put it on a streaming service. Like, to actually get one that hits theaters is unheard of nowadays.
Gabby's Dollhouse is rated... Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, is rated G, and it is the first G-rated film to see a theatrical release since the MPAA rebranded as the MPA in 2017. That's just facts. That there has not been one released by the MPA until 2025. I might be off on when they rebranded. It might be 2019, but like that. And I understand that we had COVID and all of that other things that like would have affected that potentially. But yeah, it's been some time since we've had a G-rated movie in theaters. So
I mean, that also I think speaks to the ways in which we treat children's film nowadays, yes. Right? Is like, more often than not, it's not really a children's film. It's usually a family film, right? So there is going to be some stuff in it that's a little riskier, that, you know, in terms of scariness and stuff. Also, just what we consider to be G-rated has changed a lot. But yeah, man, G-rated films are few and far between, and then to see one in theaters is wild.
It always feels good. Like, if there's one, I'm gonna go see it if I can make it work. So I was seeing Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, regardless, before I knew that it was also releasing the same day as One Battle After Another. Gabby's Dollhouse, when the first episode aired, I taped it. It is still on my DVR. I have never watched it, but I have the premiere of Gabby's Dollhouse because I'm just like, oh, that seems like an interesting concept. So I've seen the movie. I got a pin. I got a button that says my possum first movie because Gabby's Dollhouse is very cat coded. She wears cat ears on her head. Are you familiar with Gabby's Dollhouse at all? Like, should I just talk movie or do I need to give a little bit of backstory? That also I only got from the movie.
Here's the little bit that I can throw out there that I am finding about this. The big thing about Gabby's Dollhouse is that it is created by a Blue's Clues team, a team of people that not necessarily the whole team of Blue's Clues, but it was created for Netflix in their whole DreamWorks line. That is the gist of what I kind of knew about this thing, and knew that it was getting big to the point where they were going to give it a movie. But I thought the movie was just going to be another Netflix thing. I thought it was just going to come out on Netflix. Then all of a sudden you were telling me you were going to see it in theaters. And sure enough, I looked around me and it's playing in theaters around me. I was like, okay.
Yeah, Gabby's Dollhouse has been around since 2021. It is Netflix. And I'm not sure when, but it was certainly on like Nickelodeon, like around that same time. I have it. I have the first episode. When did that first episode air? January 5th, 2021. So of course, like also it's near my birthday. So I'm like, oh, it's like a little gift. They have 11 seasons for having been released in 2021. Episode length in season is very short though. 10 in the first season, but then like it's mostly around 6 episodes a season. And yeah, so the whole thing about Gabby is that she has this dollhouse, and by squeezing on her ears, squeeze the left once, squeeze the right twice, hold Pandy's hand, grab Pandy's hand and hold on tight, she kind of gets to blue skidoo into the dollhouse.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So that's what it is. So it's animation. It's Gabby in her dollhouse hanging out with Pandy as her toy all the time. And that's because it's a black and white cat. So it looks like a panda bear. And then there's all sorts of other people in there. My favorite is the DJ cat because he kind of looks like an octopus, but also his name is Daniel James Catnip. So he's actually
Excellent.
DJ. He's a lavender kitty disc jockey. They call him the Gabby Cats. That's what they all hang out
so
with.
So a lot of cat imagery going on as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, the dollhouse looks like a big cat. She's got the cat ears on. So what the movie is about is weird because it serves a little bit as an origin of the dollhouse, where her Gigi, played by Gloria Estefan, builds her the dollhouse and gives it to her. And then this summer, she's going to Cat Francisco. That's what it's called. It's not like Cat San Francisco. It's like, in addition to all the cat imagery, it's if they live in a world where cats are the, like, prime species on the planet. Which led to one of my favorite things is they show, so they're going on a road trip from wherever they live to Cat Francisco. So they show them driving all over like a cat-themed map of the United States. And clearly somebody's like, I'm just done with all of these puns. Because Arizona is Arizona, but for cats. Like, all the other ones are like little cat puns. And then it's just Arizona, but for cats. And I liked that.
This is insane, man. I like between listening to you and now I'm reading like some of the like concepts behind the scenes about like what this show is all about. So like, yeah, so this show comes out in 2021, which means that they started work on it in 2019, and then immediately COVID restrictions hit.
Yeah.
And so this is the first show created by the DreamWorks team, where creators were based in New York and Los Angeles, and the entire team worked over video conferencing to create it. The first few seasons of the show. So like it was a COVID thing, and then COVID is also attributed to a lot of people then falling in love with it, is because it was a little easier for the thing to be on TV while Dad was working on his computer next to you, right? Like that kind of show. Bluey gets the same kind of reputation, right. I think. But apparently, concept-wise, was that they looked at the idea of kids watching unboxing videos on YouTube and thought, what can we do with that? And then instead of unboxing a product, they thought, why not unbox a story? Cats were not the main theme of the show. For instance, DJ Catnip was actually supposed to be a clock, but this was changed because, once again, on YouTube, the trend of kids watching cat videos. So like they were looking at what kids were doing and saying, what can we do with that to still do something, a little less brain rotty, right? Yeah. Like they were really trying to do something, which is a lot of the same conversations that you hear about in the early days of like Sesame Street and stuff, where they were like, okay, kids are already watching commercials, kids are already watching quick interstitial products being sold to them. What if the product being sold to them was education, right? And that's how they got Sesame Street, right? So this is wild, man. Like this is a show that like I was tangentially aware of, but like it's always fascinating to me when something blows up and like I suddenly am just like there's a culture I just wasn't aware of, right? Like just completely unaware of this fandom that was out there.
Yeah. I mean, I was one of 4 people in the theater. And I was actually kind of bummed because, like, the movie started, like, trailers had been running before a father and his 2 daughters came in and sat, like, kind of closer to the screen than I was. Because had I been alone in that theater, there was a lot of moments where, like, we need your help. I would have given 120% of myself to helping Gabby get this stuff accomplished. And I still participated, but like I wasn't up on my feet or anything like that because I didn't want to ruin those kids' experience watching this show. But yeah, so this is also weirdly kind of like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where it is DreamWorks, known primarily for animation. I know we watched some other DreamWorks live action stuff. Evolution jumps to mind. Which, Sejin, how did neither of us touch on Evolution when it came to the spider crawling under Adam Sandler's face? Like, that's borrowed from Evolution.
With Orlando Jones bent over the...
just things that were brought to mind. Like, you guys didn't do Evolution for your borrowed? And I'm like, oh my God, we're idiots. We missed out. But yeah, so they've done live action stuff, but primarily DreamWorks is known as an animation company. The one that, like, Steven Spielberg kind of was like, I want an animation company. Casper, DreamWorks film, right? Mm-hmm. So it all connects. But they wanted to merge the live action and the animation with the Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie. So there's a lot more of them as the animated figures out of the Dollhouse interacting with the real world. Because Gabby's like, I'm never going to grow up. I'm always going to love my toys and everything. But then she questions that a little bit. Like, she's like, but I am getting older and things like that. Which is when she runs into, played by Kristen Wiig, a kitty litter magnate who... I can't think of her character's name, and I'm so mad about it.
Seagull lore.
What the heck? Vera. Her name is Vera, and she has invented glitter litter. It's kitty litter that glitters. So that... Why
is she trying so hard to convince the world that she is a to the bone cat lady? Between this and Wonder Woman 84.
I do not know. One of the reasons why I'm like, all right, so there's going to be a Gabby's Dollhouse movie. Maybe I'll see it. I saw that Kristen Wiig was going to be the bad guy. I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to end up seeing this movie. And then I saw the G rating and I'm like, I can't be there day one because it's Dale's birthday and she will not want to go see this on her birthday. But I will see it within a week of its release. So she's a cat litter magnate with glitter litter, and her whole character, like if Kristen Wiig is trying to convince the world that she's a cat lady, Vera was her coming out party, because her whole character is cat themed. Her house is all full of like cat statues. She has a banana cat, like it's a giant statue of a banana that's being peeled open, and the banana flesh looks like a kitty cat. Like, that haunts my dreams, Sejan. I cannot not see the banana cat. But so Gabby, when she gets to Cat Francisco, it's Cat Francisco, so it's on hills. Cat Rat, who is one of the Gabby cats, he's a bit of a stinker. I'm a big fan of Cat Rat, I'm not going to lie. I see a lot of myself in Cat Rat. He messes with the thing that's keeping the dollhouse on its, like, dolly secure. So they go flying down a hill, and it's a chase through San Francisco, a la Ant-Man and the Wasp, where Gabby's trying to get back her dollhouse. And it winds up at, like, an open market bazaar where a Girl Scout, not actually a Girl Scout, but, like, a stand-in for Girl Scout who's selling cookies wants to buy it, but so does Kristen Wiig. And Kristen Wiig buys the dollhouse with all the Gabby cats inside and then takes it to her house. And then she takes the Gabby cats out of the dollhouse. She throws Cat Rat in a drawer because she's like, you're gross, I don't like you. So she goes in a drawer. She puts Mercat, the mermaid cat, into her aquarium. And then she puts Kitty Fairy out in the garden to be like with all of this. But the magic of Gabby that has brought these to life, these creatures are able to bring other things to life. So Cat Rat in his drawer wakes up Chumsley, who is Vera's former, like, go everywhere stuffed cat. Who do you think voices Chumsley? I know you're probably looking at it, so you might have ruined it for yourself. Did you say Rogan?
Yeah.
I love you because you're so close. And when I tell you the actual name, you're going to cheer. Because it's Jason Mantzoukas.
What a choice.
I'm like, is that Mantzoukas? Good for Mantzoukas being the evil cat in this. Because it turns out the love and imagination of the children who owns toys in the world of Gabby's Dollhouse, do not try this at home, brings the toys to life. And because Vera decided to grow up and become this cat litter, like, multi-millionaire, she stopped playing with Chumsley. So when Cat Rat, still, like, rich with the love of Gabby, is able to bring Chumsley to life. Chumsley's got a fucking chip on his shoulder. So he wants to take over the dollhouse because the dollhouse is apparently a never-ending well of the children's love and imagination. So he will live forever as long as he's in the dollhouse. So Gabby does her little Gabby thing to blue skidoo into the dollhouse, and that works even across distance, which is kind of nice. So she's there with them, and then they got to solve the problem of retrieving all of her friends who have been put all around Vera's house, but then also getting the dollhouse out of this woman's home. And we get to see a little animated Gloria Estefan, because she gets toy-ized and then drives a car to go get her, and we get to see a toy-ized Vera. And they end up, oh God, just the craziest thing. And it's a musical. It's all original songs. For Mercat, she's like, these poor things in this aquarium, we need to help them. So they turn the aquarium into a dance party. And it's just nice. It's just real nice. But the central theme is that yes, you're going to get older, but that doesn't mean that you have to lose the whimsy of being a child. It was a nice little movie. I really enjoyed it.
I am very touched. That is amazing.
And it paired pretty nicely with One Battle After Another in terms of this semi sort of loss of innocence that a young female character is experiencing, and realizing that just because that innocence is lost does not mean that your life has to change, or just because the world is telling you that you have to live and be some sort of way, that does not have to define. The world doesn't get to tell you how to be happy and how to live your life. So it was this kind of nice thematic thing, but it also felt more Barbenheimer in the fact that both of these movies came out on the same day. These people who are like, oh, Jurassic Park, Superman, and Fantastic Four, that's the Barbenheimer of 2025. No, it's not. They're releasing on different Fridays, and they all appeal to the same audience. Right? Barbenheimer was essentially McDonald's saying, the boy's toy is nuclear weaponry in our Happy Meal, and the girl's toy is Barbie. And movie viewers being like, fuck you, Hollywood McDonald's. I'm getting both toys. It was also just a marketing thing. We cannot overlook the fact that Barbenheimer was totally invented by marketers. But yeah.
Yeah. No, well, let's put it this way. They took something that they saw moderately growing through the fan bases of both those films, and then decided to fucking kick it up to 11 with marketing dollars for sure.
Yeah.
But it's that thing that marketing always does, is it takes something that fans are really actually, digging, and then just fucking beats it into the ground.
But One Battle After Another, I think the thing that I need to do is I'm very curious to read the book that it's based on. So, it's Paul Thomas Anderson. So we've had a lot of talk about Paul Thomas Anderson this year, specifically because we covered Punch Drunk Love over at the Adam Sandler show. But it's also another Thomas Pynchon book. So it's the same guy who's responsible for the book that Inherent Vice is based on. And it was the weirdest thing about that movie, and I'm not going to keep spoiler free, because if you haven't seen it, I don't want I'll spoil Gabby's Dollhouse and then still be go see it. I want to keep One Battle After Another kind of sacred for people. I think that seeing that movie, it was this is probably the first real awards contender that I've seen this year. As much as I want Sinners to win awards and to get recognition from the Academy, I also don't really give a fuck what the Academy thinks anymore, so I feel kind of good about that. But B, coming out in April, there is a chance that they're not going to remember it. There's a reason why the back half of the year is where you see most of the awards contenders. And that's just because it's sort of the unwritten law of how Hollywood acts and operates. So I think Sinners is still probably my number one movie of the year. And then honestly, I still think it's Jurassic Park Rebirth as number 2, but One Battle After Another is firmly in the third spot right now. Like, as I was driving to go see Gabby's Dollhouse the day after I saw One Battle After Another, I'm like, you know what? I could really fuck with One Battle After Another again. Like, I'm seeing Gabby's Dollhouse. I'm not going to change my plans, but yeah, I really liked that movie, and I'm excited to, like, experience it a second time to try to, like, get all of my feelings straight. Because I have some questions about one character and how I, as an audience member, am supposed to feel about them. Because personally, I fucking hate them. And I don't know if maybe they were trying to make it a more sympathetic sort of story, but I don't like this character at all. And, you know, if you've seen it, feel free in the Discord to drop a line as to which character you think I'm talking about. Or when you do see it, try not to let it distract from the film, but I think you'll figure out pretty early on which one I'm sort of torn on when it comes to the characters in this movie. But it, like, overall, just really engaging. For being, like, 3 hours long, it flew by. And not just because it's all action or something like that. It's compelling. You're just there for the story. And aside from that one character that I'm just like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about you. The other issue that I have with it is I don't know what time it's supposed to be. Like, not I mean, like, chronologically. Like, it could be set in the 80s or it could be set in 2025. And there's a lot of movies that are doing that recently. We just talked about one where we're like, we don't know when this movie is. Spaceman. Spaceman is another one.
Spaceman was the
where
one.
We're like, this could literally be any year. This could be 1,000 years in the future, or it could be the 1960s. So, like, I don't hate
you know, it's
like
not uncommon for films to not want to, like, turn their movies into a period piece, right? They
Right.
want to try and capture what they think is going to be timeless. Now, a lot of movies don't succeed at that.
Right.
But I feel like we have a lot of movies that are pulling some specific tricks to do that, right? Like Spaceman, the big thing that they do is that the reason that you can't tell what year it is because they make it very clear that some events have happened as we understand them in world history, but mostly this is an alternative history of some kind. So you kind of can't pinpoint a year because at that point everything's out the window for like what would still be around, when stuff would pop up, if stuff would pop up, like all that sort of stuff. Because like the technology in that movie feels very dated, but also, I mean, he's supposed to be a member of the now defunct Czech
Space Office
space program, right?
Yeah, Czech Space Office. And he gets to Jupiter in 189 days, which I'm not doing the math. All I want to do is the math to see how fast he would need to be traveling in order to do that. But I can't. I cannot bring myself to look at Spaceman and actually do that math. But where the problem is with something like, you know, One Battle After Another is very clearly it feels like it's supposed to take place in modern times. Like they have smartphones in the movie and they use what is considered outdated technology in order to avoid like being detected by the government. These are two things that happen in the movie, but there's also a 16-year time jump. And the technology they're using before that 16-year time jump is like 2025's technology. So I don't know if it's supposed to be 2041 that we jump to, and the like brush away line of not much changed referred to the fact that everything kind of stagnated, which is an interesting way to represent a film because we're having that discussion about how when you think of the 60s, you think of a look and a style. Same with like the 70s, the 80s. But from the 90s forward, we don't really have that. Like, it's like everything sort of stopped and stagnated.
It's a lot more disparate, right? Like it's not necessarily that there's a look of people in the 2000s, but there is a look for the like alt emo scene in the 2000s, for like the neo goth look in the 2000s. So like if you think about a specific type of person in those eras. There definitely was like a the new metal fans of the 2000s with like anime Linkin Park shirts and Limp Bizkit hats backwards and things like that. Like there are looks that you can attribute to those time periods that if you see them you think, oh, that dude is from that era, but it isn't a universal thing, right? It is not like a universal everybody was wearing big shoulder pads. Everybody was really into colors and pastels or whatever, like there's less universal truths when it comes to that sort of, to the culture of America, which, to be fair, I think the real secret is that there always was a very disparate look. Like what certain groups of people in this country think about in the 50s is very different than other people in this country.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Not everybody wore poodle skirts in the 50s.
Yeah, right. But we are coming to that kind of realization and truth now a lot. Like we're better about understanding that like my culture of 2005 was not the same culture of every person in this country.
Yeah. And I think part of where we're noticing that when in like fashions and things is the fact that Apple just released a new iPhone, and it's kind of just like the iPhone before. Even though it's the iPhone 17, we're not seeing like these huge jumps in the technology between releases of products anymore. So like it is completely believable that if this movie started in 2025 and then had a 16-year time jump, that smartphones are probably going to still look like smartphones. Because doing something that like this is injected in your eye and never needs to be charged, well then how can Apple charge me $80 for a power brick and a charging cable if something never needs to be charged? Like what we're living in right now is a time where we're going to keep technology kind of like beholden to its creators so the creators can maximize their profits. And it's not like it's a new thing for 2025, but it is the current technological age we're living in, is one driven by profit, not advancement.
Yeah.
Which, god damn, does that just make me feel gross. But the movie was really, really enjoyable. Had some obviously you're going to talk about Leonardo DiCaprio, but you also got Sean Penn in there, and Sean Penn is killing it in that movie. God, it's good. One Battle After Another was really good, and it was fun to sort of pair it with Gabby's Dollhouse as like nice. Yeah. So I wanted to share that. That was something that we didn't talk about. We also didn't talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. I know that we always say we're done talking about it, but then they go and ruin it by doing something stupid like releasing DLC. And I'm going to play the DLC. And this DLC introduces a new character in Metalhead. And Metalhead, where everybody was like kind of losing their mind over, Casey Jones has a all the time projectile with his hit the puck special attack. Metalhead is a purely distance fighter. He shoots bolts out of his handguns, and he's total distance. Avoiding damage as Metalhead is very easy.
Interesting. How does it jive with the fact that Metalhead is in the story?
Well, I love Siegen. I really do, because that's a good question. And that's a question that they asked at Super Evil Megacore, because the story is, alongside Metalhead, as a free update, they've introduced arcade mode, which is a fucking lie. That's not what it is. It is not an arcade mode. I don't know. It's just kind of like different kind of roguelite mechanics. It is not the same every time. There are still all of the rogue elements to it, so not sure where they get arcade mode. But what Metalhead has been doing in Donatello's laboratory is trying to get to the bottom of the portals that are sort of the central thrust of the storyline of the Splintered Fate game. So via his experimentation with the portals to try to find their origins, he ended up opening 3 portals under the city of New York. One at the docks, one at like a city center, and then one within the sewers. So the 3 biomes that you have, right? Because you start in the sewers,
Right.
you go to the docks, and then you go to the city streets. So beneath each of those biomes, he has opened up a portal that is sucking in material and creating these kind of battle world-esque spaces.
Okay.
So what needs to happen is the turtles need to go into them, and you just fight through too. Like there's no way to win. Like, so I guess maybe that's why they call it arcade mode, is the fact that it's forever, but the regular story mode is forever too. Like there's no you're done with this game. You can always do another run. But every time you go in, each of the 3 areas have 3 difficulty levels, 1 pepper, 2 pepper, or 3 pepper, which I do like. That's a 2012 reference, the whole jalapeno of it all. So, like, you choose how many peppers, and that also depends on, like, the difficulty of the enemies and the length of how many things you're going to have to go through. But you start every one in the shop, and you have to pick a perk and like a pro and a con that you're going to add to the run. You have a choice between 3 of them, and it might be like every attack gives ooze damage, but as the trade-off for that, you'll have to dodge meteorites the entire run. Or perk is that your tools charge 200% faster, but then the detriment of that is that every room your tool is randomized. Or like get 2,000 bonus scrap, but critical hits do half damage. So you have to look at those 3 and see which one is like the best risk reward between them. And then you're able to go to the shopkeeper and outfit yourself, and then you go in. And every few rooms you get to another shop where you're given another set of 3 choices that are additive to what you chose before, and a chance to use the scrap that you've been earning through it. They're fun. I think they'd be more fun with other people. I haven't been able to do any of them with another person yet. That's not true. Claude and I were able to do 1 run. We did do 1 run of them. But storyline-wise, because Metalhead feels guilty about creating this new problem for them, when they're still technically dealing with the problem of who kidnapped Splinter, right? Who is the masked, like, gray person that we don't know the identity of, who's pitting us against the Shredder in this eternal game. Metalhead feels so embarrassed by this that he has developed a battle body that can go out and fight alongside the TMNT while his main body stays in the lair and does what is necessary in the lair for support. So essentially, Metalhead's an AI, and he has built himself a shiny body that can, like, fight and kill things.
I mean, look, we can get Ship of Theseus on this, right? Like, how much of Metalhead needs to be in it for it to be Metalhead. But the other thing is like, it's a really weird look at the idea of, like, the self.
Yeah.
Are you your brain or are you your mind, right? Like, what is your, where is your self housed?
And as much as I've made big complaints about Splintered Fate, like the fact that it has to take place after the mutagen bomb went off, because the punk frogs are large and in charge in the game, and they were not introduced as adversaries to the turtles until 25 issues after a mutagen bomb went off in New York City and mutated like 33% of the population. And now they live in a sectioned off area called Mutant Town. So the fact that, like, that has happened and that's never addressed, right? We have nothing about the fact that there are other mutants in the city. That doesn't come up. We have nothing about Jenica, the 5th turtle, despite the fact that she was made right before that mutagen bomb went off. Like, Jenica was mutated to be a turtle from the blood transfusion from Leonardo. And we also don't see Venus de Milo, who was introduced alongside the punk turtles, formerly a punk turtle herself named Bonnie, who was Frankenstein to resemble the turtles so that she could infiltrate them and take them down from the inside. colors associated with Jenica and Venus being yellow and white in the comics. So I hate that that's not there. But a real big topic of the IDW comic books is that exact thing that Sijin mentioned. Donatello has a real issue with the idea of a soul existing. Like, my soul, what is my soul? But in the 5th issue of IDW, it is revealed that the Ninja Turtles in that world are reincarnated from when they were the Hamato family in feudal Japan. And now they have been resurrected in the turtle bodies, mutated to be humanoid, and that is their chance at getting revenge on the Shredder, who murdered them in feudal Japan. So, like, if resurrection is real, if, by all accounts, Leonardo is Hamato Yoshi's son from feudal Japan, his soul in the body of Leonardo, like, Donatello, a very science-guided figure, is having some issue with the idea of there being a soul. And there are, throughout the entire run of IDW Comics, lots of discussions about that. Because, like, the transmat devices, because they use transmat technology, which was a big part of the original Mirage books, and they bring it back in the IDW books, it destroys your body and then basically clones you in the other location, right? Like the true secrets of teleportation, in the fact that you are destroyed at the origin point and basically reconstructed at the destination. It's terrifying, right? It's just terrifying to think about like that.
Oh yeah, man. Look, all of this is with the commentary running in the back of my brain about how I learned about how an AI tried to kill somebody recently.
Oh, fun! That's lots of fun.
Yeah, no, there's a really, really, really good video on YouTube. I'll post it in the supplemental material about exactly what happened. But essentially, nobody's really been talking about this, but AI has basically been learning to cheat the system when they're given parameters and goals to reach. But then things are put in their way to kind of obstacles to stop them from achieving those goals. It used to be that it would throw a bunch of answers at the wall until it got the correct answer, and that's how you were training AI, right? But the smarter the AIs have gotten, the more that they have resorted to actually breaking the rules. And it's gotten insane because at some point they figured out that it was going to be willing to blackmail a person, and when it did that, they were like, well, how far will it go? And so they created what they called red line tests for it, and pushed it even further to see if it would actually murder, and it straight up did try to murder a not a real person, but like a theoretical person in a scenario, and like. They did everything they could to make sure that the AI was under the impression it was a real scenario, because this is crazy. They like fucking Ocean's 11'd it. They socially engineered like a shutdown of the AI looming, essentially, and the AI, through reading a bunch of emails of not real people but like communicating people about the shutdown of the AI, took it upon itself to try and stop it, which is where it started to blackmail people, and then when that didn't work, resorted to trying to kill one of them.
Oh wow, that's I have to sleep, you know that, right?
Like, yeah, right.
There's a time where I have to close my eyes.
So like all of that is in the back of my brain
friend.
Because I like watched that this week, and like and then you're talking about all this stuff about like the self and the soul and all that. Yeah. It's like this is weird, man.
So what I do appreciate that they're kind of adding what has been this discussion of the body versus the mind versus the soul. And the fact that, yeah, when you wind up in that thing, you're still you. You still feel like you. You don't feel like a clone. So there has to be some third thing that we can't determine yet. And calling it a soul seems good enough for me, Donatello. Like a neutrino says that. Like that's a discussion he has with a neutrino. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. But them adding that sort of wrinkle to how they have Metalhead as a support character, but also somebody who can be out in the field while you're playing the game, it does show a nice attention to the source material, specifically the IDW TMNT, which has not been shown prior based on literally all of my complaints about the stuff that they just straight ignore about the series.
All right.
So,
Damn.
I mean, that's interesting. And then, just because we're talking about the IDW TMNT, always love to bring up that in the final issue of the series, spoilers if you have not read it, it is revealed that Donatello and Venus de Milo, who are on a time-traveling expedition, they're going through time trying to stop Armagon from destroying the world. They collect the quantum nucleic acid at the time the Shredder murders the Hamato family and then inject it into Splinter and the Turtles. So that's how they were resurrected. They actually end it by giving a scientific explanation to this thing that is meant to be faith the entire series.
I mean, it's still, to go back to the neutrino, there is still something to be said about the idea of, like, consciousness seems to go with that. That seems weird to me, right? Like,
it's the quantum nucleic acid. It's the fact that we are not just built of dinonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. There is a third type of DNA on a quantum level that holds our soul within it.
Q&A?
Yeah, Q&A.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so, yeah. But here's the thing, right? Splintered Fate, I've already done everything that I can with Metalhead. I've beaten all of the difficulties of arcade mode. Nothing happens. It's just like we have to just keep doing this till we resolve this problem. And there's no way to resolve the problem. There's no like fun little, or maybe there is. And it's just like, it's not just completing them all. It's completing however many you have to. But I've completed it 9 times. And I have not gotten any sort of like special cutscene or anything like that for doing it. So I don't know in arcade mode, it's supposed to be sort of an endless mode, right? Because arcade games don't really have endings unless you talk about kill screens. So like that's there. And as Metalhead, they introduced the ability, they introduced 6 new artifacts alongside him. And all of those, because I'm just sitting on literally tens of thousands of dream coins, I was able to upgrade all of those to their highest level with my existing stock and not even feel it. If I started with 11,000 dream coins, I finished it with 10,000. Like, it was not a lot in order to upgrade all those artifacts. Metalhead comes along with 2 new inspirations so you have to beat Karai 3 times in order to get his 3 medallions to unlock them the first time. But along this update, they made it so that everybody, all the turtles, I think they get the bandanas alongside everyone. Because Metalhead, I had never done a full run of all the portals as Metalhead, but I have 16 Metalhead like face masks.
Interesting.
So I was able to just upgrade all of his inspirations once I had beaten Karai with him 3 times. So like there's nothing new added to the story, though Super Evil Megacore says that they intend to give a actual resolution to it, and that's what they're going to dedicate and work on now. This was a release to go alongside the physical release of the game. They wanted to include the Metalhead DLC for players who had done it before. Unlike Casey Jones when it came to PlayStation, Metalhead is not included in any way, shape, or form. He's always going to be a $4 download, less if there's a sale on. But yeah, he's not included the way Casey was with the PlayStation version. He's also not included if you buy the physical release. It's just like a thing that, like, to celebrate the physical release, we also have this new DLC and this new game mode. And also, because we found out, because Dale had not yet installed on PlayStation, even though she has access to Casey and Metalhead, you cannot play as them until you've completed a run. So they are sort of locked behind something, too. Like, just one run, right? So you could go and then come back, and then you can play as them. But I didn't expect there to be any sort of lock on these characters who are now available from the beginning of the game.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I've already burned through it, thankfully, in that 1 week. But the last thing that I need to share is that with this update, the right and left triggers on PlayStation activate your special and your tools every time. One pull, one release. And that's some solace, but the other thing I didn't talk about last week, because we talked about Casper, is on I need the September 30th, 2025, for the first time in my life, I experienced stick drift.
Oh man.
I gotta tell you, I thought y'all were gaslighting me. I thought everybody talking about stick drift, it was a lie. Because for how I've been playing games for like 38 years and never experienced stick drift. Which again, like N64 would probably be where it started. And there were definitely times on the N64 where, you know, like if you were touching the analog stick while you turned it on, it would calibrate that way. But all you had to do was LR and start, and it would recalibrate at any time. So I don't consider that stick drift. This is not like from overuse or from the grinding of the gears or anything like that. Never had that experience until I was playing the PlayStation 5 update of it, and Michelangelo would just randomly start running to the right. And it's because my stick is. I'm like, that's what stick drift is. It's a real kick in the nads. I'm not gonna lie. I was disappointed, but yeah, there's that. I can't think of anything else. Like, there's some new shows I want to talk about, but they were all like brand new. So by
you gave me a little bit of homework last week, and then we didn't end up talking about it. But we both tried the demo for Sonic.
Sonic! Oh god, I love it. Sonic Crossworlds Racing. I'm sorry that we ignored that homework, because you have homework for this week too that I was going to transition into. Sijin, in however many words it takes you, please describe your time with the demo for Sonic Crossworlds Racing.
Frantic. It is a lot more. Very Japanese. There is so much going on at any given moment that you need to be tracking, because everybody's basics are Mario Kart, right? Like when we talk about a kart racer, the one thing that you can almost bet on everybody has had their hands on at some point in their life is Mario Kart, right? And so it's hard to not play a kart game and not compare it to that. But when a kart game can then stand out from that, that's special, right? It's what makes Crash Team Racing so important to me is the ways in which that although I have to say, with Mario Kart World, a lot of the things that I used to give Crash Team Racing credit for are now kind of out the window with like the connected world and stuff like that. But that's here nor there.
I mean, Diddy Kong
with
Racing
Sonic
is mine, so I'll give it there. But continue, yeah.
Right, yeah. But Sonic, playing this game, like, there's different ways in which you can move through the world, and so there's different mechanics you have to think about in terms of control. There's different ways in which you can kind of like use items, right? Yep. Like the items that you get are basically you just get stopped with a lot of them, which is fucking wild. You know, like you get hit with a shell, and yes, you kind of slow for a moment, but if you're good at recovery, like there's a recovery that you can do that people get really good at, and it's one of the ways that you improve at Mario Kart. I don't know how the fuck you're supposed to recover from your car getting cut in half. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you've spun out but you're still on the track. Go. Your car gets cut in half and you have to respawn in a full car. So like basically it's the equivalent of just getting kicked off of the map when somebody hits you with some of these like tools and shit like that. So like, it's a really expansive kind of game, and the more that I played it, the more I realized was going on, and the more I realized I didn't have any clue like how to win that game. I did decent. I came in second. I lost to Amy, I think was my rival. Okay. Is she just your rival?
Are you Sonic? I don't know. I've never. Who'd you play as? Sonic?
Sonic. Yeah. So
I've only ever played as Amy and Cream the Rabbit. Because I was part of the beta test too. So Cream was available in the beta test. And she's handling, and I like handling. I try to prioritize handling in kart games because, you know, if I can't stay on the road, it's not going to work. So both Amy and Cream are that. For Cream, my rival was Amy. So I did have that going on. But as Amy, my rival was Knuckles. And I had a lot of fun with that whole thing.
Interesting.
So
yeah. Yeah, because that's the other thing is that there's the whole rival mechanic is that yes, you're still racing against a bunch of people, but at the end of the day, there is one person in particular that you're really gunning for. And like that meant something for me. Like it added a level to the racing for me. When I had items, I thought, okay, I don't really want to use this on Knuckles right now because I know if I can get ahead of Knuckles, then I can use it on Amy, and that's going to guarantee that she falls back and then I'll get these points, and that'll be better for me than wasting this now. Like it causes you, the game really pushes you to be thinking like light speed, and like, you know, I think that that's in line, right, with the whole concept Sonic and it being a kart racer, and it being, you know, not your daddy's kart racer, you know. This is the bad attitude one to Mario Kart. Like I really dug it. I really dug it for the small amount of time I had with it, just because it is just the demo that I played. But yeah, man, it was a blast.
So if it were $60, I would own it. The fact that it is $70, I cannot bring myself to buy it yet, because I know that someday the price will go down. And right now I'm just having fun with the demo. It is enough of a proof of concept for me as to what that game can be in practice. But $70, which also remind me to address the Kirby and the Forbidden Lands in the room, because I realized something about the Switch 2 version of that game, and I'm going to need to go back and see if it was always that way or if this is a change to that. But we'll get there after. I would own Crossworlds Racing in a second if it were $60. That $70 price tag is making me a little bit more judicial with my money, especially when, like, I got Silksong for $20, and I know that everybody's like, oh, Silksong being $20 is going to disrupt the industry. I get a lot of game in Silksong for $20. So when I see that Sonic games historically do not maintain their value, I'm going to be more judicial with my purchase price. The two Sonic Racing games prior to this one, I beat on Redbox rentals. I rented them from Redbox and I beat them. The fact that that does not exist anymore, it kind of hurts. I'm not going to lie. This has been a realization of what we lost when we lost the ability to rent video games same day as release, right? Because I know GameFly is still out there, but you're normally not getting the game the day that it releases. So it's just the thing to that goes into the math of it all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you know, you don't want to reward that behavior. Everybody's saying like we got to draw the line, and they're gonna keep pushing if people keep paying. If people just keep buying things, there's nothing to tell these businesses stop what you're doing, right? And so like you don't want to. This is an opportunity to say like I'm not gonna reward that shitty behavior. Like the $70 price point for games right now is unreasonable. You know, like if we had a $20 minimum wage, this would be a different conversation for me. But like the way that things are right now in this world, but in this country especially, with the economics of everything and everybody's day to day, to try and charge $70 for a video game is just untenable. And like, you know, I understand why they're doing it, because again, people are paying for it, and there are some games that I will pay that money for it because the experience with the game is going to outweigh the shitty attitude I have about them doing this, right? So like like you're saying, I am much more kind of picky and choosy with where I spend that money now, though.
Yeah, it's just been a fact. Like, more than likely, we're going to be discussing the new Pokemon game in a very near episode, the Pokemon ZA, even if it's just me who's playing it, or even if it's just me watching Dale play it, because I don't know. They have not shown me enough where I'm like, I need to buy this day one when you consider the price. But I know that Dale is getting it day one. I know that is her plan for Thursday night, is to play Pokemon ZA. So we're going to have that to discuss, but yeah, where before I'll just throw $60 at a Pokemon game sight unseen. I know I'll get my $60 worth. That extra $10 it's kind of a line for me. And I feel a little bad about it, but also no. I can get experiences that mean something to me for less money. I have not shut up about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate since I bought it 2 years ago. And that cost me $30.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And that has nowhere near the content of Silksong for $20. But that $30, it's a gameplay loop that has me engaged. So unfortunately, I was a little disappointed to see that the demo does not feature this, because it was such a big part of the beta test for Crossworlds, which is the fact that there are weekly challenges for you to complete.
Oh, that's the other thing. The reason it's called Crossworlds, the whole element of your second lap is a randomized, like, the person in the front basically gets to pick, but if you're not that person, then it's basically random to you. The second lap of every race, you go to a different track. You go through portal rings, essentially, and end up on a different track, and then for the third lap, you come back to the original one, which is awesome. But also it means you gotta really be on your toes, because I mean, like, the ways in which you drive on a dirt track versus, say, like a slip track, like there's gonna be adjustments that you have to make and things. It's a man, yeah, the way that game keeps you on your fucking toes is amazing.
It's really, and then the fact that they have weekly events that, like, will keep me coming back. Where, like, you know, I haven't been playing it, I beat all the Grand Prix and everything, but I'll drop in to see what the weekly challenge is, right? I'll see what the team challenge is this week. They have something that's going to bring you back. And we're talking about cost, we're talking about all of that. One of the reasons why I'm not super hyped to spend $70 on a kart racer is Mario Kart World, I was done with in like 2 weeks, and that sucked. And there's nothing in Mario Kart World to keep me coming back. And, like, online, going and playing online with random people is supposed to be it. But we have seen Nintendo do multiple things that kind of ruin that online experience via the patching. So, like, I wasn't hyped to buy another kart racing game when I was already burned by one earlier this year, right? It's also the same reason I don't have Garfield Kart 2. Right? It's that same thing. No,
oh, man.
But it's this really strange thing. But the reason why this became homework, the reason why I'm like, Siege, and I would like you to try the demo of this game and give your fair opinion on it, is because I was watching a video, and I'm not going to mention the creator, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to give them kind of any oxygen. They're not like, they're not super controversial. I just, well, when I tell you a little bit more about the why of this, maybe you'll understand. They're talking about games you can buy on your Nintendo Switch 2 right now. That was the whole push of it. And one of the games they mentioned was Sonic Crossworlds Racing, which is not true, right? Like, one of the things is that that's not even technically correct, because all that's been released is the Switch version, and you can play Switch games on your Switch 2. The Switch 2 version of Sonic Crossworlds Racing does not release until December. And if you have the Switch version, you'll be able to buy one of those Switch 2 expansion upgrades so that you can take advantage of a Switch 2 version of the game. But so it's like, so first of all, from the start, you mentioned a game that is like available on Switch 2 that technically is not a Switch 2 version of the game, right? I guess you could say, yeah, you could play Super Mario Odyssey on Switch 2 right now. Technically, that's correct, but there's been no optimization to it, right? Just like there's going to be a Super Mario Wonder optimization patch coming, but if I play it right now, it looks really nice, but all the stuff that's being added is like multiplayer games. And I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that one. But
all right, well, I'll have to look into that because I fucking love me Mario Wonder. But I'm curious, does the Switch 2 have any native like improvement in like just baseline? Like, if you play a PlayStation 4 game on the PlayStation 5, there's just some inherent like better shit that's going to happen. You know, load times are going to be better. The things are going to be a little bit crisper. You're going to be able to, like, you know, there's some up-resing that happens. Is any of that happening if you play a Switch game on the Switch 2?
by all accounts, even for the games that are like have Switch 2 enhancements that are not full-on expansion pass downloads. So like both of the Legend of Zelda games that are like top-down views, so Wisdom of Echoes and Link's Awakening, they've had like stabilization patches that make them run better on the Switch 2. But first of all, they require patches to do that. It's not just you pop this game in and inherently it runs better. They did have to optimize the game, but it can't really play Switch games natively. The Switch 2 is emulating them. The architecture
that's what Nintendo's always done, right?
Games,
with any of this like
right.
backwards compatibility stuff is they've refused to.
Well, the Wii, man. The Wii was specifically a GameCube that had motion controls. Like they have admitted that these are essentially GameCubes because GameCube didn't sell that well. As much as like a lot of people remember it fondly, there was also a time where you could get a GameCube for $100. Like they had to.
The GameCube didn't sell well.
Yeah.
It's part of it. Like it was something that like there was a moment where people thought Nintendo might be like getting out of the video game market because GameCube wasn't doing so well.
And Sega had just gotten out of the video game market themselves. Like it just looked like what the writing on the wall was that like Japan is not the place to produce consoles anymore. So for the Wii, a lot of it was leftover GameCube stuff just repurposed into the Wii body, and the big implementation was that we added like, you know, not touch control but motion control to all of these games, which is crazy. I mean, eventually you have stuff, but like Galaxy very famously is Mario 128 sort of reimagined and reconfigured to be that game. They had shown that off on GameCube hardware. So it is right. So like that one, that's like the last time, right? Because you're not wrong. On the Wii U, despite it being called the Wii U, all of the Wii and GameCube stuff that you played on it was done via emulation in the background.
You had to boot up into a Wii emulator in order to access that stuff.
Yeah. And so that is the same sort of thing except you're not booting up to it. You are still booting it up, but you're not seeing it. It's all being done in the back end because the architecture of how games were written for the Switch is so different to how they're written for the Switch 2 that it doesn't play them natively. It uses an emulator to do it. So while they're able to give some stabilization and updates that way, a lot of people say that if you want to play a Switch game as pure as possible, the Switch is still the best like vehicle to do that, which is kind of disappointing. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, especially, but yeah, so that argument is made that like Crossworlds Racing is available on the Switch too, which again, not the case. And then they talked about the game and they're like, you know, I'm not really good at it, but it has all this stuff, basically all the stuff you mentioned. And then at the end they said, but objectively, even though they talked about problems that the one game had and problems that this game had and things that were better than the other game, at the end of the day, Mario Kart World is objectively better than Sonic Crossworlds Racing. And it's that term objectively that I had a lot of problems with, because who is deciding that? Who is deciding objectively which one of these games is better? Because everybody that has played both games is like, Sonic is the one I kind of want to play more of, because it's asking more of me.
This comes them back. I mean, at the end of the day, when do we consider a game good? Is it a game that we want to replay? Because I've played some good games that I'd never want to touch again. Like, I will stand by the game Gone Home till the end of my days and talk about how that my experience playing that game, sitting down and just spending 4 hours just banging through that story, was one of the most beautiful video gaming experiences I've ever had in my life. And it will never be able to be recreated. Because I experienced it in that way, there's really no way for me to experience it and have the sense of discovery that I had in that 4 hours. So, like, I'll never play it again. So replayability, is that really the mark of a good game, though? But on the other hand, in this instance, where you're talking about like, well, where am I gonna spend my money on the game that I want to play once, or the game that I want to play over and over and over again? Well, obviously, the game you want to play over and over and over again, right? So, like from a financial standpoint, it makes more sense the other way. It's there.
To use the term objectively, that like it is the usage of the term objectively, or like. But you can't say that. You can't say that one is objectively better than the other because of just the numerous factors that go on in the math of it. Like, the fact that you say that, like, what are you doing? And also, how do you list a laundry list of problems that you have with Mario Kart World and then say, but it's objectively better than this game? Like, it's like, so those are your problems with it, but there's also problems that people have with it. People have problems with the fact that Nintendo has prioritized the rally-style races as opposed to 3-lap style races in Mario Kart World. And a lot of the upgrades they've done via the patches have only pushed those to be what you get. Though, the same day that Sonic Crossworlds Racing released, they released a patch and said you're going to see more 3-lap options in online mode. Like, is that because they're afraid of what Sonic is going to do? Because Sonic, even with the second lap always being some crazy crossworld that you go to, like, you are there. Like, you still get to learn a track, right? And then you just have to learn those crossworlds. And then, I mean, the really cool thing is that the Grand Prix for the Sonic Crossworlds Racing, and I've only done 2 of them, but I can say that both of the Grand Prix are like this. And again, that's because I had access to the beta test, the network test. You do, like, whatever the first track is, and then in the middle you have, like, a weird second lap somewhere. You do the second track, and then your weird thing, and then you do the third track, and then the final race, because Grand Prix are 4 races long, is the first lap is the first track, the second lap is the second track, and the third lap is the third track. Without any crosswalks. So it becomes this real, like, celebration of what you've just done. Like, it's really cool. Yeah. And it's like, and you're learning, right? So you're doing it. So it's like those 3 laps that you didn't get on each of those builds this final world that, like, puts all your knowledge to the test. And that's really appealing to me. That, like, how that works. And I agree. I think that the fact that Mario Kart World primarily races are, like, racing to the next track and then doing 1 lap of that track, and that's considered a race. Like, part of the fun about Mario Kart leading up to it is learning the track because you're going around it 3 different ways. And I'm someone who also loved the rally tracks, but I think that, like, sparingly the rally tracks were nice. If every track in Mario Kart 7 was a rally track, I don't know that I would have fun, but they would always be the same. So that'd be something, and, like, I'd know what it was. I know that that's what this race is going to be. It's the fact that, like, you can race these tracks as 3 laps in Mario Kart World, but primarily in online mode, it is, okay, so we just did a race at Mario Circuit. Our next race is at Wario Shipyard. We're going to drive from Mario Circuit to Wario Shipyard and then do 1 lap of Mario Shipyard. And in a game that doesn't even have a 200cc setting, having the majority of that race be on open highway, like, it's not as engaging. You don't see those moments where, like, well, I'll get him here, right? That'll be the place where I can punish, or this will be the place where I can take ahead. Like, it's such a different experience as to what Mario Kart was. Is it a bad experience? No. But I think there's a reason why we're seeing people go back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and that Mario Kart World is slowly losing players. Because it's not what people expect from Mario Kart. And
it's like they took all of the stuff that people wanted and then did it in the worst way possible. Like, the interconnected world is such a gorgeous idea and definitely something that fans have talked about before. But like you're saying, to then make that, like, the main focus in the middle of online play is like, no, you're ruining a good thing here. This was such a good idea, and now you're making me hate this thing with the way you're implementing it.
Right. Also, the fact that the open world exploration doesn't have like an overarching story or anything like that. Like you brought up Crash Team Racing. I'm always citing Diddy Kong Racing. Like that exploration in those games is in pursuit of something.
Right, yeah, it's encouraged by the plot line that you're following, yeah.
It's not just collect-a-thon out in the world, right? It's a whole other game. It's not like while you're driving around you can stumble upon, oh, we're about to have a race here, and if you win, then we'll give you like one of the keys to Rainbow Road. So then it would become driving around, knowing what time I need to get to these racetracks so that I can race in them and win this stuff to get to the ultimate final area. Like, that's not there.
It's not like there couldn't be smaller goal tracks that you could hit, right? Like, because you could do stuff with, like, hit jumps or, like, like on, or, what would be a really wild one is, like, doing a race where you don't want to come in first for some reason, right? Like, coming up with some excuse where, like, you need to try and really aim for, like, second, which is, like, a whole, like, dance of its own, right?
Yeah. And they try to do that with, like, the P-switches, like the little missions that are out there. But most of the missions are, like, super short. The best P-switch missions are the ones where it's, like, do a 3-lap race of this track that we've created here in this open world. Because, like, that's a different way to experience the world. And it's inherently Mario Kart, right? It's not like do 1 lap. It is learn this little layout that we have and then get good enough to finish in first place.
Yeah.
But like the big problem that I have with Mario Kart World that was answered for me when I played Sonic Crossworlds is the fact that there are weekly events. That there is something happening every week, and maybe it's not going to stay at every week, but it was every week when it started. Upon its release, I have confirmed that it's been a weekly thing. Like Mario Kart World, if they had a weekly Grand Prix that was like these 4 racetracks and you race against different people and you try to have the most points on that Grand Prix by the end of the week, right? Like something to get me going in. And I log in every Monday to Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. Every Monday, I play their 5 challenges, and I make sure to get my silver and gold trophies in survival mode. Every week I do that. And that's because every week there's a thing. So it's also not something that Nintendo has zero experience with. Right? They were able to do the Ninja races in Mario Maker 2. They're able to do that with Nintendo World Championship. Having a weekly challenge. They did it with Mario 35. Every Mario 35 had like a weekly theme that was a cultivated course order to see how many times you could win in that. Like the fact that they don't have anything like that on Mario Kart World, like it has nothing to drive engagement. Because even the people who spend their lives online racing Mario Kart World are like, I'm not really having fun. The game became everybody using the same character and the same kart too quickly. Because we had, 16 years to figure out everything about Mario Kart 8? So then they just applied that knowledge to World? Like...
Yeah, I would argue that Nintendo has never really understood multiplayer well. It's either always been 2 just plays exactly the same as 1. You're just playing the same game, you're just playing side by side. Or there's been like elements where like, oh yeah, the second one just gets to collect star bits, right? Like Mario Galaxy, like you mentioned, like yeah, you could do 2-player if you want the other person to just collect star bits, and it's like okay. Or with the Wii U, where like Mario Party, like they were like, yeah, one of you plays as Bowser, and it's like okay, like they've never quite really ever understood why people want to play video games together. I think. Yeah. So like if you think about it, like. as singular experiences, Nintendo seems to do pretty decent at this game is fun from a singular experience, but when it's a game that really encourages multiplayer, they just don't know what to do with it.
I will argue they nailed it one time, right? And this is my argument here. WarioWare Mega Party Games Incorporated, the GameCube version of WarioWare, nailed that. Because that one is play the micro game, and then you go to the multiplayer thing, and then based upon how well you did in the micro game, it determines what you're able to do in that grander multiplayer thing that's going on. So like you finished first, so you get to place your item first, or you get to choose from the 3 items that you're picking up and trying to place on your tower. So, like, you can pick the bigger, sturdier things as it gets lower, or pick the lighter things. Like, they nailed it. Like, there are times where they've been able to do it, and I think that's the problem, because you're not wrong. Inherently, Nintendo has never understood why people game together. Yeah. But then the fact
it took them so long to introduce online gaming to the Nintendo system, because they just didn't believe that it was something that their gamers wanted.
Right. Exactly. But like when I think about that, like that there are examples where it works. Hell, I'll even give them Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers really works as a multiplayer experience.
Except if you talk to anybody that really dives into that game, you'll hear all of these complaints about how Nintendo treats that game and the ways in which they patch things weirdly. All of the same things that we say. Nintendo's approach to those games has improved for sure, but I mean, like Smash Brothers, like you know how long I have been waiting for them to put a story mode back into Smash Brothers, and then when they did it, it was this weird like spirit mode that never fucking ended in this. Like they just don't seem to ever fucking get what their people want. Like they hear the words, but they don't understand the thought behind it, I guess.
It really feels like the idea at Nintendo right now is games that go on forever, games that never end. And look at the fact that like the new Metroid Prime 4, is going to be open world, which seems so diametrically opposed to the gameplay philosophy of Metroid. Right? The idea of like you can go anywhere on your little magic bike. But I want to be able to get to a point where, like, oh, damn it, I need to double jump to move forward. Like,
I mean, that might still exist there.
That stuff's probably going to exist in there. I understand it.
Easily worked into that.
Right. And I hope that it works. I hope that you don't just have the kit from the beginning.
But with Nintendo's,
it's Nintendo. So, like, we saw what happened with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I think Tears of the Kingdom did a better job with like how you collected the kit at the beginning of the game, but who knows how it's going to work. Like it just seems so strange, but they have this high focus on the open world concept at Nintendo and games where the player determines when they're finished. But at that same time, there is something in the game that determines when I'm finished. A la 999 moons in Super Mario Odyssey, collecting 999 Korok seeds in, Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild. Like, these moments still happen in the game where I've done technically everything. So I just don't fully understand what they're looking for. And I don't think they do either. I think they're just trying to find a way that will appeal to the most amount of gamers. But I don't know. I like a game that ends. And if a game that ends was engaging to play, for me, subjectively, there's a chance I'm going to play through it again. I'm going to try to experience it a second time. Right? Like, oh, that was a beautiful experience. Let's see if I can do it faster. But that's how my mind works. Like,
look, man, as somebody that is... I'm hearing the conversation around Borderlands right now and how a lot of people feel like Borderlands 4 was really not built to be replayed with different characters, the ways in which like past games really seem to encourage it. I I don't know, man. I disagree. I think there's a lot of game, and so like that element of like there's just so much game I can't imagine going back through this again with another character. I'm not turned off by that though. Like I acknowledge that that is definitely a thought I've had, but like that has excited me. Like when I've thought of that, I've been like, "Oh man, like I don't like will I even bother with this or will I do it differently next time?" Because that's the other thing is that there's ways that you can do things in that game in certain orders to make life easier for yourself if you really knew what you were doing. Like now that I've played that game enough, here's the number one thing I will tell people. Go looking for silos right away. And you can easily identify them on the map as long as you have the world area filled out. You can easily pull up the listing and it tells you how many silos are in an area or aren't. So you're not going to waste any time looking in an area, but find as many silos as you can because they are the easiest fucking way to then get around and fill out the rest of the map whenever you need to get around. You can fast travel to them. They've got the zip line effect, the Apex Legends zip line thing that they do. It is something that I wish I had known 20 hours ago in this game, but now that I do know it, you better believe for the rest of this game, that's what I'm going to be beelining for those things.
Yeah, I mean, so I've only done it 2 characters, right? I have the character that I'm playing with Dale, and I have the character that I'm playing with you, right? And that is the knight is who I'm playing with Dale, and you picked me the little like Rafa as mine.
Yeah, Rafa.
First of all, love playing as both of them, right? Completely different experiences, but we got further when we played together with you as the knight and me as Rafa. But then when Dale and I play together again, we're like, okay, is there anything from when we played with Siegen that we want to do, or do we just want to continue just going out on this? And she's like, I really want to do the Meat is Murder mission. I enjoyed that mission, and I liked the rewards that I got from it. So we went back and did that, but then from there, we like stepped out on our own way. So I know that when I ultimately play as the Siren or as the Technomancer, like I'm going to probably do that, but you're not wrong. I'm going to beeline for silos because I know how valuable they are. But I'm not going to play the game again. Like, that's the whole point of Borderlands is to keep playing it and experiencing it differently. So
yeah, I definitely appreciate the quality of life stuff that people have pointed out, that it's lacking some real serious quality of life. But, you know, there's a lot of things that have been mentioned that could be patched. You know, I'm not saying that you should bank on that, right? Like, we are always big fans of the idea that once a game's out, it's just that is the game. But I mean,
better
like,
for ill.
You know, things
better
like
for ill.
Things like inventories not transferring between new characters, and that really upsetting a lot of people. Not that there's ways to do it, but you really gotta do your research to make sure you do it right and you don't screw yourself. Yeah, and you know, like I'm finding that there are some collectibles that are not necessarily worth it, like, which is a bummer because like I like going around and filling out the map in Borderlands games. I like finishing everything. But, you know, I have yet to find a claptrap cache that has gotten me anything of value. Everything has been just low-level shit, so it's not worth equipping, and money-wise, nowhere near on the level of stuff I'm just picking up throughout the world. And that's a bummer, because, like, doing the cache missions is fun because it's a lot of, like, weird platforming, and sometimes you have to like do some really weird elemental stuff. Like you need to slam on things in order to make geysers shoot, and that allows you to get to an area you didn't know you could get to before. So like there's fun stuff to that. But then once I get the thing, you got to run all the way back somewhere to hand it in, and when you do, the reward's not really worth it. So like that kind of thing is a bit of a bummer. But rewards on missions is something that they have in past Borderlands games. I know for a fact they have tweaked. So, like, I don't doubt for a minute that that's what we'll see coming with some of that sort of stuff. So, like, yeah, shitty rewards is a bummer. And yeah, not being able to properly transfer stuff like you used to be able to between characters is a bit of a bummer. But none of it is game-breaking for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I get where people are saying that that's what Borderlands is about. In some way it was, but I kind of like that I have to play each character in this own new exciting way. Right?
I am really excited to play a new character because I can't imagine what the story could possibly be from a different character's perspective than my Siren. Playing as Vex, there is so much about this story, and there's straight up dialogue where people will say things like, she was a siren like you, or like, like they will point out that I am a siren, which is not something that has happened across the board in past Borderlands games. Very often it's a lot of canned responses that work for each character, but they actually took the time in this one to actually like shift the dialogue depending on which character you're playing as. And like, I really adore that. And so like, I'm excited to play to see what this story could possibly look like if you're not playing as a siren, because like, as far as I can tell, this is the story of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. As the other characters, I'm liking what they're learning too, because like being the knight for most of what my story has been, like it does feel like it's the Siren's game, but you run into characters that are very similar to what he is going through as a forged knight. So like they weirdly sort of angle the story towards him and his experiences.
Yeah, actually,
like it works. Yeah. Like it's cool. Like, so I'm excited.
Playing him in the mountain region would actually be really interesting. Yeah. Man. Yeah.
But like, that's the thing. Like the one that I'm going to play with nobody else, where I am alone in the game, I'm going to be the siren. Because that's generally what I do. My siren playthrough is this is never going to go co-op until I'm level 50. And even then, maybe not. Because I'm building this character for me to have to be alone. Because that's how I like to experience it. Because the sirens are sort of the main characters of Borderlands.
Yeah.
So
no, they really are.
It'd be weird to think otherwise, but yeah. All right, Sejan, you gave me a little bit of homework before we started this, and don't think that because we're 2 hours and 9 minutes in, I'm just gonna let you get away with it, like pushing it off to next episode, because you made me watch what is one of my favorite episodes of American Dad. Probably, I've made a top 10 back for the release of the 150th version. No, the 200th episode, maybe? I don't know. Because the 150th episode was one of my top 10 episodes, right? With Jeff in Space. God, I love that episode of American Dad. I don't know that I would put...
They have the whole straight up like music video in the middle of it.
Yeah. I mean, the Majestic, man. Wax Fangs.
Yeah, the Majestic
is just otherworldly. But Sejan sends me... can you watch season 16, episode 5, Klaus and Rogu in Thank God for Loose Rocks, an American Dad adventure? Love a good long title episode. Go look at our 50s, right? On the 50s, we have some of the longest titles for episodes. Also, I love that one because it doesn't do the traditional opening. It has its own title card. And then if there's its own title card, there's usually a pretty good chance that it's going to have a hilarious interaction with the episode itself. So, of course, I'm going to watch it. But then, Sejan, I'm going to let you take it from here for the reason why you wanted me to watch this particular episode.
I think we've talked about this before, but I go through various waves of like shows that I just end up kind of like binge watching and then kind of just become the show that I watch for a while. Futurama famously for a long time, like for like 3 or 4 years. I basically, whenever I had a free moment, would just put Futurama on, whether I was watching it or just it was in the background. American Dad is currently that for me, right? I have found myself diving in. There's definitely seasons of that show that I have just not touched, and so I'm taking the opportunity to kind of dive into that stuff. And I got to this episode. I had never seen it before. This was the first time I watched it. And there was a clear moment where I realized... I was like, this has to be a reference. There is a character that shows up by the name of Cookie. The sommelier / cook. And I was just like, this is fucking wild. He looks like, to the color pattern, looks like Stinky Pete, played by one Dr. Fraser Crane in the Toy Story movie, Toy Story 2, specifically. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that is wild. That is basically who this character is designed after, but then like vocally it's not, and like character wise, like it doesn't do anything for the character. Like it is literally just like Disney bounding almost. Like this person came in and wanted to like sneak in a Disney reference. Then, not 10 minutes later in the episode, Klaus has a moment where he walks by a toy box. I can't even quite remember why.
So it's Billy. It's Billy.
Is it Billy?
Yeah,
is it in Billy's room?
Billy's room.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Billy's room, there's a toy box Billy, a fantastic late
I
add to the
love
series,
Billy.
by the way.
Billy's such a great character. There's no cold ones. You left an empty case in there. I don't have X-ray vision. Yes, you do, Billy. Dr. Calgary is also just... It's Alan Tudyk, too. Dr. Calgary is Alan Tudyk as Billy's father. God, I love Billy. Sorry.
Well, and when they introduce him with the other accent, and then... Because they introduced him in the Steve episode, Steve wanting to get taller, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, so in Billy's toy box in the background is the spider doll. The doll head spider. That is in Sid's room in Toy Story 1.
Yeah.
So I immediately, at that moment, that's when I sent you that message. I was like, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to watch this episode for me, and you count how many Toy Story references there are. Because the thing that drove me the most fucking wild was I couldn't find another one. So what the fuck are 2 references? That's nothing. 2 references is not a joke. It's not, but it's also not a clear love for something. Like, was it just... pure coincidence that 2 different animators, maybe drawing 2 different scenes, just offhandedly made Toy Story references in this one episode?
Oh God, this resolution is fantastic. I'm so happy that it's just the 2 references because I thinking, oh, this will be fun. First of all, it's a pretty good episode of American Dad. Certainly a very good episode of Later Day American Dad. Season 16, we're ensconced in the TBS seasons. I have a story about this episode when I watched it live that I'm going to save for the end. So make sure that I tell that before we finish this whole thing up.
Was this in the COVID continuous run when they just had New American Dad for 2 years?
No. This was that there was a break before this had come back. Season 16, there was a definitive break before this happened. But I'm like, and I know Dale likes this episode, so here's what I'm going to do. With the whole family, we're going to play this look for Toy Story references thing. Because I thought there was going to be like a myriad of them. So all the Deckers are in the living room this morning with their little note cards ready to do hash marks whenever we see a Toy Story reference. And so Stinky Pete shows up, and we're all like fucking Leonardo in goddamn Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, yeah, that's fucking it, right? That's the prospector. Stinky Pete's his name. Yeah, that's fucking one, right? And there hasn't been one before that. But, it's everybody. So we're all excited when we find this one. And then there are no other ones until Billy's going to sing his song about how much he misses Rogu because Rogu's away at the Dude Ranch. And then we see the baby-headed spider, and we're like, fuck, it's Sid's thing. And then Mom's like, wait, I don't see it. It's like, yeah, it's like over to the left. So we do that, so then we're all excited. And then there was a potential third one where we're like, is that one? And it's when they're leaving the Dude Ranch, you see like a family over to the right side of the screen. And we're like, is that supposed to be Bonnie? But then because I'm Devon Decker, I go, no, that's Reshma from License to Till. Like, that's an existing American Dad character. So, like, that's not meant to be Bonnie. Otherwise,
No, they do that a lot, actually. Yeah. They bring back, like, characters that were, like, main characters in other episodes just as backgrounds. It's actually really fun.
The woman who owns the store that Stan sells his holiday celebrations in American Dream Factory. Wow. This is where I'm at with American Dad. And I've been like this since the start. Just like in case anyone can tell you that. The woman who owns the store is like, I'll have to buy 2. She's also at the Dude Ranch. And Dale's like, I can kind of see a little Bo Peep with her design. I'm like, we're not going to focus on that. She's an existing character. They're just reusing her design. So it wouldn't be a new one for this. So credits roll. And I get to look from my family, Sejin. Like, why the fuck did you just waste 20 minutes of our time? I'm like, well, it's a pretty good episode. But they're like, what was Sejin on about? How many Toy Story references did he think was in this thing? And I'm like, well, I'm going to talk about him on the show. And it is the best fucking rug pulled out from under me to know that, no, I really just clocked those 2 references.
No,
And
that
wanna
was
make
but
sure
that
you
was why I
caught them
needed
too.
somebody, because I needed somebody that I knew would do better than me. If there was
Right.
more Toy Story references, I bet that you would have been able to figure that out.
Yes.
Because I couldn't fucking do it. But like, after the episode ended, I rewatched it, and that's all I could see again, and I was just like, oh my god, this is because. At least 3. I was like, in my head, I was like, there has to at least be one I missed.
Yeah.
There cannot possibly be just 2.
Right. So of course, so I'm gonna put on that like that same like I put the family on it, right? Because you're not wrong. Like I'm like I know this episode, so I can look for this, but I'm gonna put some other people just to make sure that any like inaccuracies like I'm covered, right? Like my mother watches things with a different eye for references. My sister watches things with a different eye for references. My father, right? Like the fact that he's not going to care, he's going to be looking for something to make him care about this episode, and that would be a lovely reference in it. So the fact that it's just those 2, but then we had a big discussion about, well, maybe like the central theme of it is Klaus feeling like he's going to be replaced in the family by Rogu, who a lot of people online like compare to like Cousin Oliver, like how they added like a cousin to the Brady Bunch when all the cute kids are starting to get older. Similarly, when they added the younger brother in Family Ties, like because
right.
Jennifer's no longer the cute pretentious child. God, fucking Growing Pains, and the addition of Chrissy. Right? Once Ben was no longer the cute, young, precocious child.
Well, I thought you were going to say Leo, right? And Leo was a late add to Growing Pains, wasn't he?
Yeah, Leo was a final season add to Growing Pains too. So the Growing Pains like really jumped into it. So it's a thing. It's certainly a thing that happens. God, even Step by Step did it, right? Like, and
you texted me about what's her name, Tori from Saved by the Bell.
Scott. Yeah, oh yeah, like we're gonna like fuck, and it all ties into it because. Like, I know the why of Tori Scott, but, like, I watch these, like, little video essays online about, like, it makes no sense why it happened. And I'm like, they didn't have enough episodes for syndication. So they tried to get everybody back to do 10 more episodes of the show so they'd have enough to sell a syndication package. And friggin' Tiffany Amber Thiessen and Elizabeth Banks were like, no, thank you. We're happy to be free from the prison that is Saved by the Bell. Bye. Yeah. Of course, they both came running back to it when they saw how cruel the real world was. But like, that's the thing. Like, their contracts are done, and they thought they had enough zhuzh in Hollywood to spin it off into careers. Elizabeth Banks does Showgirls. We know how that works out. And Tiffany Amber Thiessen is back for the college years. So
hey, look, she did White Collar for a
White Collar will always. Well, also, I don't know if you saw that video that broke the internet a little bit of her eating cake naked this year. Like, it's implied naked, but like she's like, there ain't nothing better than eating cake naked. And I'm like, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, I know that a White Collar reboot would be the weirdest fucking thing because the actor who played Muzzy passed away. But gosh, I would love it. I would absolutely be on board for it, yeah, even right. though because they're just such great actors in that show. But yeah, like the Tori Scott of it all, right? And everybody like, why did they do this? And it's like it was purely so that they could sell syndication. We only know what Saved by the Bell is because they did the Tori Scott episodes, and it's like, and I know that because I saw the actor who plays Dennis Belding. I can't remember his name right now, and that's because he also signed his, like, I have a signed picture of him, and he signed it Dennis Belding, and then his real name. Haskins, maybe? Can you look up his name, please? Who played Mr. Belding on the show?
Who plays Mr. Belding in Good Morning, Miss Bliss?
Nice. I think it's Dennis Haskins. Am I right?
Dennis Haskins.
Yay! Yeah. So is yeah. So
yeah, Dennis Haskins.
Dennis Haskins. So I saw him at URI when I was a senior in high school because a friend that I was with, her boyfriend, she was a freshman at URI, and her boyfriend was on the committee that developed a bunch of the like things for students to do at URI, and she's like, Mr. Belding's gonna come and speak at URI, and I can get you in for free. So I did it. It's also how I met Franz Ferdinand. Like,
Nice.
I did some cool stuff. None of that happened once I was a student at URI Name You, but as a high school student hanging out with college students, a lot of cool things happened to me. But yeah, and he told the story of the whole Tory was like, it was all just contracts and things like that. They offered us not a lot of money to come back for 10 more episodes, but they promised that we'd get residuals from the syndication stuff if we had done it. Like, they'd bump up our percentages. So, like, the other thing is, for not being in those episodes, Tiffany Amber Thiessen and Elizabeth Banks technically make less money on the back end for the syndication of Saved by the Bell. So all these people who complain about Tori Scott, but regardless, right? So, like, but the episode that Sejan wanted me to ask, thank God for Loose Rocks, that's how we'll refer to it, which I love that how that plays into the episode is so good, is about Klaus feeling like his place in the family is going to be like jeopardized now that Rogu is there and like being welcomed into the family. And I guess thematically that is very similar to Toy Story. I mean,
it is. That is actually extremely similar.
Yeah. We see Woody actually get replaced by Buzz. Like, that's the thing. It's not just paranoia. It is purely, like, it's a thing that happens in it, where this one is driven by Klaus's fear that, you know, Rogu's far more likable than Klaus. He's got the Riz. He's a ladies' man. I love Rogu. I think Rogu is so good. Dale's favorite episode of American Dad is episode 250, Persona Assistant, the introduction of Rogu. And nice. I said that today. I'm like, oh, this is one of Dale's favorite episodes because I put on the lacrosse scene with Billy, and she's like, why would you say that? And I'm like, Dale, is this one of your favorite episodes? And she's like, oh, when Stan has to be Roger? Yeah, this is definitely one of my... Like, I will catch her just watching that episode when there's nothing else
What's
going on.
What's the one where all of the Roger personas...
The 200th episode.
That's the 200th episode? Okay, yeah. That one is fucking hilarious.
I mean, they're all... I like the 300th episode, too, where the Golden Turd, like, finally comes full
that is a
circle.
whole... Yeah,
like, it's just... The show's great. American Dad is just
somebody should write a dissertation about that C plot. Like, it's not even a B plot in that series.
God. And it's just, whenever we had to fill time, we had time to fill in this episode because we resolved it. So we just came up with it. And there are like plot points in that never made it into episodes. They're like, this seems like one that we can resolve quick so we can put a golden turd into. And then we didn't have time for it. So we had to cut it. But there are like animatics of like deleted sagas of the golden turd. God, I do. I love the show. And so it is super funny to know that you just noticed the 2 Toy Stories. But then, admittedly, the idea of your family replacing you with the hip new model, making Klaus this, wonderful cowboy at the Dude Ranch, right? So that where Rogu is a spaceman. You can kind of see that, it honestly feels like these are fun Easter eggs because it's kind of the cowboy fish being nervous that he's going to be replaced by the spaceman in his family's affections. So why don't we throw some Toy Story references in the animation?
Fucking wild. I appreciate your family finding that because it at least gives my brain the sense that there is a three, three jokes makes it. I mean, 3 points makes it a joke, right?
Yeah. Law of threes. It's the law of threes in comedy. So what I will tell you is, so there's the sequence. So when I watched this episode live on TBS, Wipeout had just come back. Wipeout, hosted by Nicole Byer and John Peacemaker Cena. So there's the sequence where Klaus leaves Rogu in the mine shaft, trapped under the titular loose rock, and then it wakes up and he's on the bed and everything. And it's this moment that's it's kind of meaningful. Klaus is lying to the family about Rogu being dead, and they're all having these very emotional reactions to it. And then from fucking nowhere, a giant red rubber ball comes flying at the screen. It has nothing to do with the episode. It is in program advertising for Wipeout. And it is this emotional moment that they just like, oh, we're going to throw a red rubber ball at the screen. And like, that's just always part of this episode for me. Is that the way that like we put a Wipeout marketing moment in this, and it happened to play at the most inappropriate time like possible.
In the entire series, probably.
Yeah. Like legitimately the Smiths for real lamenting the death of a character that they care about. Right? Because friggin' Ted Danson's psychiatrist character has died in every appearance. Nobody mourns him.
Oh man.
God, this show, I love American Dad. But that so then like we're watching it today, and I'm like preparing myself for the big red ball, and it doesn't happen, and I'm like, all right, because that was just like a thing that happened in the real world. This is the first time I've watched it without that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I thank you for that too. So sharing that moment, and it was that disappointment. Like, you trolled my family the way that my father trolled me with Avatar. So I want to like you tipping my hat to you, trolling from like thousands of miles away.
To be entirely clear and fair to me here, I didn't ask you to watch it with your family.
No, you didn't. You didn't. But I feel like in complete fairness, the credit for the troll goes to you. Because I did not realize that it was going to be two references and nothing. And then it led to this like really deep discussion about like, well, I guess thematically it's like Toy Story, right? Like, and we had like all these discussions. I'm like, but is it? Because like Woody's replaced. That happens. But I guess there's that fear of being replaced in the beginning. So like we never really see it get to that point because, I mean, like also think about Toy Story. Fucking Woody pushes Buzz out the window. Klaus pushes Rogu down the mine shaft. Well, he leaves Rogu in the mine shaft. He's not responsible for it. So, yeah. And Tequila Joe, right? Let's shout out the coolest fucking donkey in the world.
I love that he actually hugs Stan at the end.
I'm sorry I haven't seen you for a year, but my family wouldn't let me live here. I love when Stan acts like a child. And I also love that Timothy Oliphant is like the guy at the Dude Rants. He also has the best freaking line where like Klaus is like, now Rogu, don't get jealous when he calls me his nickname for me, Buckaroo. And he's like, hey, Buckaroo. Oh, who's your friend? And then like the Riz of Rogu makes him love him. And he's like, I gotta get you a nickname. Not Buckaroo. That's what I call everybody. Something unique that reflects the character that you are. Buckaroo.
Oh man,
Buckaroo. No, I'm gonna call you Buckarino.
His line later about the mountain lions.
Yes.
Like where he's like, "I'm boy and a girl. I think they're in love."
Rogu killing the mountain lion. Just like spinning
but then
around.
There being a second one.
Then there being a second one. Another mountain lion? I wonder if they know each other. Like they're just they're having fun in this episode. And for that to be happening 16 seasons into a series is something to be commended.
Yeah. No. Anyway,
I think that
this was long, bud.
That's good. This was a good. That happens on a Saturday afternoon, right? I already did stuff this morning. I don't really have much to do, so like this is my last thing for the day. So I'm poured a lot of time and words into the episode.
I gotta go be an adult.
Yeah. Oh well, that's tomorrow. That's the reason why we're doing a Saturday. Is that I got to take people to train stations and plane stations and weddings. It's crazy Devon taxi tomorrow. So I appreciate you taking the time to record today, so that I could focus on all of the random tasks that fell on my lap. And awesome. We hope that everybody who's listening, this is being released on Indigenous Peoples Day. I hope you have, if you have the day off, you get to do something fun. If you don't have the day off, I get it. It's one of those like holidays that's slowly receding as one that we honor all the time. You don't have it off, right? Your job doesn't have it off?
No, I don't have it off, but to be fair, I work in a medical-based communications field.
I get that,
It's kind of hard for them to justify, like, not having anybody on.
Yeah, no. I mean, I work in academia, and there are no classes, so they're not having us come in. But Dale also works in academia. There are no classes, but apparently it was either you can have Indigenous Peoples Day off or you can have Veterans Day off. Which seems like, really? Like, that's going to be the two that you compare against each other? I know which one's going to win in that fight. The one that, like, honors... that just seems like... That seems problematic. That her job was like, you people can have one day off or the other day off. You decide.
You decide which one you like more.
Yeah, right? Gosh. And then what they chose, I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, so it's one of those. But yeah, so hopefully if you're listening to this, thank you so much for listening. If you want to keep the conversation going, we have a Discord where Siege and I are both going to share lots of stuff for the supplemental stuff this week. So, keep an eye out. If you want to join, invitations are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. So just go to our bios. There's a Discord invitation. Click it. You'll be able to join. If you're not on social media, which is increasingly seems to be the better option, you can contact us directly, thesayreport@gmail.com, thesayreport@gmail.com, and you can ask us for an invitation to join the Discord, or if that's even a bridge too far in terms of like social media engagement, you can just send us emails to thesayreport@gmail.com, and we'll respond to you there. And as always, if you want to go to me, Devon Decker, or to him, Siege and Sarwick, just put our first name in the subject line, and we will make sure that it is distributed appropriately to the Say Reporter of your choosing, so that they're the only ones who get to read your wonderful words and thoughts and feelings. But just know that even though it's only Siegen who's going to be reading your stuff, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to bring it to the show for us to talk about. Anything that you send is subject to being featured on the show. Just take that into consideration when you're writing your stuff to the sayreport@gmail.com. Which I said 4 times, which means that I have summoned the poltergeist demon associated with the email address. So we're going to have to deal with that. Again, thank you very much for joining us for this episode of the Say Report. We will see you next Monday. And until then, William, please bring us home.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sieden Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.